Chapter 3461, Make the best use of everything, this is an opportunity. Lin Moyu admired the divine rune formation as if appreciating a work of art. The divine rune formation in this cave was just one node of the entire grand formation. As the saying goes, one can see the whole leopard by observing one of its spots. Through this formation node, one could see a lot of information. Most crucially, this formation currently had no master. Although it was still operating, its power was far less than before. The function of this formation was simple: to absorb power from heaven and earth and from the treasures, convert it, and send it to another point for convergence. One could imagine how much enormous energy could be sent out instantly when all the formations in the caves operated together. The treasures inside were all 7th level Dao Venerable treasures. Add to that the power absorbed from heaven and earth, plus the operator's own power, amplified layer by layer through the formation. The combat power this fortress could ultimately exert was unimaginably strong. Lin Moyu felt the rhythm of power flow in the divine runes, simulating the entire formation's disassembly and reassembly in his mind. After confirming there were no problems, he began drawing divine runes. Just half a minute later, an extremely complex divine rune danced at his fingertip. This was the most complex divine rune Lin Moyu had ever drawn. Through repeated studies of divine rune formations, Lin Moyu's understanding of them was rising rapidly. Now he could use divine runes to set up some simple formations. Basically, formations below the 4th grade were no problem. With a bit more study, he could freely set up 4th and 5th grade formations. The reason he asked Lu Zong for so many origin crystals this time was for setting up formations. He threw all these origin crystals to the infinite fusion technique star, which hadn't been used for a long time. Now it was working hard to fuse the origin crystals. Setting up divine rune formations required a large number of origin crystals, and Lin Moyu wasn't interested in low-grade origin crystals. If he was going to use them, he'd use good ones. If Infinite Fusion wasn't still having difficulty fusing 9th grade origin crystals, Lin Moyu would definitely use 9th grade origin crystals to set up formations. That way, the effect would definitely be better. Even 3rd grade formations could exert the effect of 4th grade formations. Lin Moyu flicked his finger, and the divine rune at his fingertip flew into the cave's divine rune formation. The cave immediately emitted rumbling sounds. This continued for half a minute before everything returned to calm. From this moment on, the formation node in this cave had changed owners. Its master had become Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu didn't take away the treasure. After modifying the formation, he turned and left. He had changed his mind. When he saw the formation, he thought of a better method. Rather than thinking about how to weaken the formation, it was better to use the formation for himself. Perhaps some unexpected things might happen then. So Lin Moyu kept entering one cave after another, changing the formations inside. In several caves, the treasures were already gone, with no signs of battle, indicating that the treasures had been taken away. The people who took away the treasures were undoubtedly from the Wu family, but this wasn't important. The number of treasures obtained by the Wu family wasn't that many. The skeleton generals had already explored all the caves. There were as many as 360 similar caves, with at least 300 of them having powerful treasures suppressing the formation eyes. The Wu family had obtained only a small fraction of these. Besides the caves, there were many scattered formation nodes in the entire complex maze of caverns, and those nodes also had treasures. However, those treasures weren't powerful. Many were already gone, and the treasures in the outer area of Riftwind Cliff came from here. After exploring the caves, 90% of the entire map was completed. The 360 caves formed a large circle. The center of this circle was the center of the entire Riftwind Cliff, which was also the wind opening mentioned by the 3 ancestors. The skeleton generals hadn't found the way in. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. Through the formation, he already knew where the path was, but he wasn't in a hurry to go in. He kept modifying the formations in the caves, turning these formations into his own property. After busy work for a long time, all 360 formations were modified. Just waiting for Lin Moyu's will, these 360 formations would simultaneously serve Lin Moyu. After completing the formation modification, there was only one last step: refining the formation disk. Once the formation was controlled by himself, the power flowing through the formation would either be cut off or converge towards another place. Lin Moyu naturally didn't just want to cut off the power. He wanted to gather the power into his own hands. However, at this point, Lin Moyu encountered a problem. He didn't have such high-grade materials to bear the power converging from these formations. Ordinary Dao Venerable Realm materials definitely wouldn't work. The Ice-Fire Dao Stone could work, but he currently didn't have the ability to refine it. The Misfortune Skull was in the same situation. After much thought, Lin Moyu thought of the Cloud-Piercing Sword. The previous owner of the Cloud-Piercing Sword had once reached the Great Dao Realm, and the Cloud-Piercing Sword had thus received the baptism of the Great Dao, gaining some characteristics of the Great Dao Realm. Although its owner was very unlucky, and the Cloud-Piercing Sword didn't truly become a Great Dao Realm treasure, and was even injured, dropping to the 7th level of Dao Venerable. But its essence was still there. It was still the strongest treasure Lin Moyu could use. Most crucially, the Cloud-Piercing Sword had a spirit, which could help him control the power. Perhaps, for the Cloud-Piercing Sword, this is an opportunity. Once the enormous power converges, it might help the Cloud-Piercing Sword recover. Lin Moyu took out the Cloud-Piercing Sword and summoned the Big Head Spirit, explaining his idea. "Big Head, do you have any problems with this?" The Big Head Spirit was very obedient. "I have no problem, you just do it." Lin Moyu nodded. "If the power becomes too strong later, you can release it. Don't force yourself." The Big Head Spirit made an affirmative sound. "Don't worry, Master. Big Head understands." Lin Moyu used his soul power to fuse premium 8th grade origin crystals as ink and began drawing divine runes. One divine rune after another flew into the Cloud-Piercing Sword, forming a formation on its surface. The formation connected with the formations in the caves through Lin Moyu. When the time came, the Cloud-Piercing Sword would bear unimaginable power. Whether the Cloud-Piercing Sword could be reborn under this enormous power would depend on its own fortune. After doing all this, Lin Moyu came to a special position. This position was one of the connection points of the 360 caves. The caves were like a spider web, with many connection points between them. This was one of them. There was also a divine rune formation here, which could lead to the true core area. In prehistoric times, the cultivators of that era had evolved divine rune formations to the extreme, almost able to accomplish various things with formations. Seeing clearly the formation's veins, Lin Moyu used divine runes as a key to open a passage. The moment the passage opened, an enormous aura rushed towards him. This aura contained dense power of the Wind Great Dao. Various Wind Great Dao powers fused together, corroding bones and scorching souls. If another 5th level Dao Venerable were blown by this aura, they would be skinned if not killed. Lin Moyu stood there motionless. He felt the power of hell from the aura. It's indeed inside. A smile appeared on his face, then he rushed into the passage. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3462, 3462. Chapter 3462, Great Dao Realm, Usurping the Nest. The aura in the passage was chaotic, with various powers from Wind System Great Daos intertwining, turning the entire passage into a complex and terrifying environment. Even a 7th level elder would be injured if not careful. Lin Moyu used the Undying Golden Body for protection. The power of death weakened attacks from the outside, while the power of life enhanced the toughness of the Undying Golden Body. His blood essence roared continuously. He moved rapidly through the passage, trying to get out as quickly as possible. Flames suddenly appeared before his eyes, and monsters pounced towards him from within the firelight. "Get lost!" Lin Moyu shouted lowly, throwing out a punch. The monsters were sent flying but didn't die, coming back again. Their power seemed weak, but they weren't easy to kill. The monsters opened their blood-red mouths, which were filled with raging flames and sharp fangs. This was very similar to hell fiends. The fangs seemed able to devour everything, tearing any worldly object to pieces. Lin Moyu knew these monsters came from the hell fragment. He punched them back again, thinking to himself, it seems the hell fragment has started to evolve on its own. I wonder what it will evolve into. Repeatedly punching them back, Lin Moyu accelerated forward, leaving them behind. Finding the exit at the fastest speed, Lin Moyu immediately rushed out. Just as he reached the exit, a bright light suddenly struck him. Lin Moyu felt as if he had been heavily punched, and was sent flying on the spot. This attack was too fast, giving no time to react. Then, one strong light after another came, instantly thousands of them, like thousands of fists continuously pounding on Lin Moyu. Wherever Lin Moyu retreated to, it would strike there, incredibly accurate, giving Lin Moyu no time to react. Lin Moyu was forcibly knocked back into the passage. After returning to the passage, the attack stopped, allowing Lin Moyu to catch his breath temporarily. After stabilizing, Lin Moyu's blood essence circulated. Although he wasn't injured, he looked somewhat disheveled. The series of attacks just now came too suddenly. Fortunately, the power wasn't particularly strong, roughly between the 8th and 9th levels of Tao Venerable. Who exactly is attacking? The whole process happened too quickly for Lin Moyu to see clearly who the opponent was. With a thought, skeleton hell enveloped his entire body as he flew out of the passage again. As soon as he left the passage, a beam of light came straight at him. The enormous power once again knocked him back into the passage. The opponent was clearly determined not to let him leave the passage. Don't want me to leave? Then let's see if you can manage it. He took out a corpse. This was a 7th level Tao Venerable corpse, and it was plant-based, obtained from the 100 Herbs Alliance earlier. A plant-based 7th level Tao Venerable had incredibly strong life force. Using it for corpse explosion would increase the power even further. Lin Moyu felt this wasn't enough, so he also used a drop of ancestor water, plus the power of belief. With these three combined, this corpse explosion could severely injure an 8th level Tao Venerable. Skeleton Hell had endured one attack from the opponent, completing the soul lock. Lin Moyu didn't need to see it to use corpse explosion. Arriving at the exit, just half a step away from leaving the passage, Lin Moyu activated corpse explosion. Corpse explosion. The moment the corpse in his hand turned to dust, Lin Moyu rushed out of the passage at top speed. This time he wasn't attacked again. Lin Moyu had a thought, and space distorted dramatically. Skeleton Hell appeared all around. Lin Moyu changed the target from himself to countless others. Then the light appeared again. Corpse explosion could only delay it for a short time. One beam after another came crashing in, killing large numbers of skeleton generals, who then revived again. Lin Moyu took this opportunity to finally see the opponent's appearance clearly. It was a monster glowing all over, standing in a sea of fire, with 10 arms growing from its back. Each arm held a small square seal, and the light was shooting out from these seals. Heaven-seeking seal. The moment Lin Moyu saw the square seals, he immediately thought of the heaven-seeking seal. But there was only one heaven-seeking seal, while the opponent had 10, and the heaven-seeking seal couldn't be this small. Lin Moyu judged that either these weren't the heaven-seeking seal, or they were avatars of the heaven-seeking seal. The appearance of treasure avatars meant the treasure had developed a spirit, and not an ordinary one at that. The sea of fire this monster stood in was equally troublesome. The sea of fire was transformed from the hell fragment, providing the monster with endless power. And the monster itself emitted an aura of the Wind Great Tao. Wind Great Tao, Heaven-Seeking Seal, Hell Fragment, this guy is simply a fusion. Unfortunately, the fusion isn't complete. Not worth fearing. The monster's own aura was only at the 7th level of Tao Venerable, not very strong. Lin Moyu had a thought, and more skeleton generals appeared, surging towards the monster. At the same time, Su Pu, Wu Bingchuan, and Wu Juan mixed among them, rushing over together. Under the cover of the skeleton generals, the three successfully approached the monster and then attacked fiercely. Wu Bingchuan and Wu Juan attacked simultaneously. The monster reacted extremely quickly, the square seals in its 10 hands instantly launching attacks at the two, forcibly knocking them back. Sword light exploded, and Su Pu seized the opportunity to strike. Within the sword light, the monster's 10 arms were simultaneously cut off, followed by its body being sliced to pieces. As the monster's body collapsed, the square seals in its hands turned to smoke and disappeared. Even the sea of fire under its feet quickly receded. Chase. With a thought from Lin Moyu, the skeleton generals immediately chased in the direction the sea of fire was retreating. The sea of fire was transformed from the hell fragment. The direction it retreated in was the direction where the hell fragment was located. The sea of fire retreated very quickly, but fortunately, the skeleton generals were also fast and could keep up. Lin Moyu followed at the back. After following for a distance, the sea of fire suddenly stopped. Firelight illuminated the entire space, and fireballs like meteors crashed down from above. Lin Moyu had a thought, and all the skeleton generals quickly scattered. At the same time, he summoned a legion commander and handed over command to it. The time-cursed wings appeared, constantly vibrating as Lin Moyu traversed through the meteor shower. While dodging, Lin Moyu surveyed the sky. In the sky was a sea of fire, falling like a waterfall. Countless streams of lava poured down, forming another sea of fire below. Between the two seas of fire in heaven and earth, pillars formed from streams of lava connected them. A dazzling square seal, 10 meters tall, was floating in the sea of fire. On top of the seal was a throne, with a man sitting on it, looking at Lin Moyu with cold eyes. The man emitted an aura of the Great Tao Realm. Did a Great Tao Realm being really survive? Lin Moyu immediately negated his own thought. The Great Tao Realm being hadn't survived. This Great Tao Realm being was already dead, with only the physical body preserved. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal had occupied this Great Tao Realm being's body, truly a case of usurping another's nest. It seems this heaven-seeking seal wants to become a true living being. Using the heaven-seeking seal's main body to suppress the hell fragment, attempting to manipulate the hell fragment, then occupying a Great Tao Realm strong body, using the power of the hell fragment to fuse the spirit with the physical body. Not a bad idea, quite interesting. It had to be said that the heaven-seeking seal doing this did have some possibility of success. However, it was still missing many things, such as origin crystals containing the primordial power of heaven and earth. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3463, 3463. Chapter 3463, Not Within Destiny. The hell fragment had evolved into a double sea of fire above and below, two completely opposite forces. One poured down like a waterfall from above, while the other erupted like a volcano, frantically gushing upwards from below. Both forces ultimately fell on the heaven-seeking seal, as well as on the remnant physical body of that Great Tao Realm being. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was using this method to try to forcibly fuse itself into the Great Tao Realm physical body and become a true living being. You're not from the Wu family. A deep voice sounded, carrying a hint of resentment and even a trace of evil. Lin Moyu said, whether I'm from the Wu family or not, does it matter? The heaven-seeking seal said, you're not from the Wu family, so how were you able to come here? Lin Moyu smiled, that question is rather unnecessary. He was already here, so asking why he could come had no meaning. Lin Moyu felt that this spirit didn't seem very intelligent. Now that he was here, Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. He examined the heaven-seeking seal, trying to see clearly its fusion with the Great Tao Realm physical body. Activating the undead eye, Lin Moyu felt some surprise in his heart. It actually managed to do it, but what a pity. Within the Great Tao Realm physical body, two soul flames were flickering. One soul flame came from the heaven-seeking seal, indicating it had already developed a soul. Once it had a soul, it wasn't far from becoming a true living being. However, the way the heaven-seeking seal's soul had developed was clearly not right. Its soul flame was somewhat incomplete, not whole. Back then, Little Mist had also used this method to reincarnate as a true living being. This method indeed worked. But Little Mist's situation was different from the heaven-seeking seal's. At that time, Little Mist had Lin Moyu's help, and the physical body Little Mist chose was very weak. But the physical body the heaven-seeking seal chose was at the Great Tao Realm, very powerful. Trying to usurp such a nest was much more difficult. Most crucially, within this Great Tao Realm physical body, there was still another soul flame. This soul flame was also incomplete, but it belonged to the Great Tao Realm powerhouse himself, having home field advantage. The two had engaged in a contest that had lasted for countless years, with neither willing to give in. Under the pressure from the hell fragment, the current Great Tao Realm being and the heaven-seeking seal had almost fused together, both somewhat difficult to separate. If allowed to continue evolving like this, after several million or tens of millions of years, the two souls might fuse together. At that time, this Great Tao Realm powerhouse could revive holding the heaven-seeking seal. If he could also gain control of the hell fragment, his power could become even stronger, possibly surpassing his former self. As for who would be the dominant consciousness of this physical body at that time, it was hard to say. In just a few seconds, Lin Moyu understood a great deal. During these few seconds, the heaven-seeking seal didn't speak. It seemed to be examining Lin Moyu as well. After several seconds, its deep voice sounded again, I sense the aura of hell from you. You've come for the hell fragment. Lin Moyu chuckled, half correct. Actually, I'm quite interested in you too. You're called the heaven-seeking seal. Does that mean seeking heavenly secrets? The heaven-seeking seal didn't speak. Lin Moyu continued, you can seek heavenly secrets, so you should be a treasure belonging to the Destiny Great Tao, right? But at the beginning of the origin catastrophe, the Destiny Great Tao had already shattered. You should have been asleep. That means you must have awakened within the last few million years. Am I right? The heaven-seeking seal said in a low voice, it seems you know a lot. Where did you get this information? Even the Wu family ancestors don't know these things. How did you come to know them? Lin Moyu shook his head, that's not important. What's important is what I want to do here. You shouldn't be thinking about those unimportant details. The heaven-seeking seal said, I don't like your way of speaking. This spirit really wasn't very intelligent. It might also be because it hadn't communicated with anyone for too long. Lin Moyu said, whether you like it or not isn't important. This time I've come not only to take away the hell fragment, but also to take you along. Now that the Destiny Great Tao has partially recovered, you can be of use. The heaven-seeking seal snorted coldly, you. A mere 5th level Tao Venerable. Do you know what level of existence I am? Lin Moyu shook his head, that's still not important. The fact that I could walk to this place should tell you that realm doesn't mean everything. Besides, you're just a Great Tao realm treasure. I've killed Great Tao realm beings before. You've failed to successfully usurp this nest. Let's separate you first. As his words fell, Supu had already charged over with the cloud-piercing sword. The heaven-seeking seal snorted coldly, seeking death. The sea of fire boiled. Endless flames surged from above and below simultaneously, turning into fire dragons rushing towards Supu. Supu swung the cloud-piercing sword. In an instant, millions of sword lights flashed, slashing all the fire dragons. Lin Moyu murmured softly, it seems it has mastered part of the hell fragment. This guy is quite ambitious, wanting to have it all. The heaven-seeking seal is indeed a treasure of the Destiny Great Tao, but it seems it can only see others' destinies, not its own. Supu and the fire dragons were evenly matched, seemingly unable to overcome each other. Lin Moyu smiled, it seems you can't see your own destiny. Why don't you try looking at my destiny? The heaven-seeking seal could explore others' destinies but couldn't explore its own, truly a case of a doctor being unable to cure himself. The next second, Lin Moyu sensed strands of great Tao power falling on him. He knew the heaven-seeking seal had made its move. The heaven-seeking seal didn't speak, but directly used the Destiny Great Tao. It first looked at Destiny, then searched for weaknesses within Destiny to attack. Lin Moyu didn't know how far it could see in the Destiny Great Tao. Like the Buddhist Realm Lich and the Destiny Lich, although they could search for weaknesses in the Destiny Great Tao, the time was limited. They couldn't see too far, only within the near future. As for the heaven-seeking seal, that was unknown. Suddenly, the heaven-seeking seal let out a scream. Lin Moyu felt the Destiny Great Tao that had just fallen on him completely withdraw. The entire heaven-seeking seal was trembling. Who are you? Who exactly are you? Its voice was full of fear, as if it had seen something terrifying. Lin Moyu smiled, what did you see? The heaven-seeking seal shouted loudly, why aren't you in the Destiny Great Tao? Why? This is impossible, this is impossible. Its voice grew louder and louder, almost frenzied. Listening to its words, Lin Moyu also frowned, I'm not in the Destiny Great Tao. Is that possible? All living beings in heaven and earth, all things, from a speck of dust to a great Tao realm powerhouse, were all within the Destiny Great Tao. Even the entire origin continent, everything, should be reflected in the Destiny Great Tao. The Destiny Great Tao could detect the future. This was why at the beginning of the origin catastrophe, the first to be shattered was the Destiny Great Tao. Yet he wasn't within the Destiny Great Tao. This gave Lin Moyu an indescribable strange feeling. But the heaven-seeking seal's reaction didn't seem to be lying. Lin Moyu felt the heaven-seeking seal was about to go mad. Lin Moyu also couldn't figure it out no matter how much he thought about it. He simply gave up thinking, forget it, let's deal with the main task first. Strike while the iron is hot. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thank you so much, Roger and Dracospider. You all are real ones for helping me continue with this book. I truly appreciate your support more than words can express. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3464, 3464. Chapter 3464, Destiny Light Wheel, Erasing from the Destiny Great Tao. The current state of the heaven-seeking seal was very strange, almost frenzied. It seemed unable to accept the fact that Lin Moyu was not within the Destiny Great Tao. Lin Moyu knew this was the nature of a spirit. Even if a spirit gained wisdom, it would still be restricted in certain ways. This situation would occur as long as it remained a spirit. Unless it could, like Little Mist, break free from its identity as a spirit and become a true living being, it wouldn't be free from these restrictions. The heaven-seeking seal clearly hadn't achieved this yet. No matter, Lin Moyu planned to help it break free. With a thought, a illusory big head suddenly appeared on the cloud-piercing sword. The divine runes on the sword body flashed brightly. The formations in the 360 caves that Lin Moyu had previously arranged all began to operate simultaneously. Now these formations belonged entirely to Lin Moyu. As soon as the formations began operating, enormous power converged towards the cloud-piercing sword through the formation veins. Layer upon layer of power surged on the cloud-piercing sword. Suku's battle strength instantly increased greatly. Every bit of power he used could ultimately become 10 or 100 times stronger. The few fire dragons entangled in battle were slain in 2 or 3 moves. The cloud-piercing sword killed its way to the heaven-seeking seal's front and slashed towards it. The big head spirit cooperated perfectly, shouting at the same time, "Explode!" The enormous power accumulated on the cloud-piercing sword all erupted at this moment. With a thunderous boom, the heaven-seeking seal was slashed flying. The great Tao realm powerhouse's physical body on the throne above it also flew out together with the heaven-seeking seal. After countless years, they seemed to have truly become one body, very difficult to separate. Lin Moyu saw through the undead eye that after this sword strike from Suku, the remnant soul belonging to the heaven-seeking seal that was originally staying in the great Tao realm physical body had retreated back. The remnant soul appeared on the heaven-seeking seal, turning into a gloomy-looking man, staring at Lin Moyu with a dark expression. This sword strike from Suku had turned its countless years of hard work into nothing. Although the great Tao realm physical body was still there, if it wanted to occupy it again, it would take countless more years. This sword strike finally freed it from its madness. It said in a low voice, "Even if you're not in the Destiny Great Tao, you must die today." Destiny Light. The heaven-seeking seal buzzed, and a terrifying light shot straight towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was well prepared. When the heaven-seeking seal spoke, he had already started moving. When light appeared on the heaven-seeking seal, Lin Moyu had already changed positions. A beam of light brushed past him. All the skeleton generals touched by the light instantly disappeared. Their traces of existence were erased. With their imprints gone from the Destiny Great Tao, they naturally couldn't exist, let alone revive. Revive the dead once again lost its effect. The formations were still operating. In the blink of an eye, considerable power had accumulated on the cloud-piercing sword. Suku swung his sword up, once again killing his way to the heaven-seeking seal's front, slashing out a sword strike. At the same time, the heaven-seeking seal shot out a beam of destiny light towards Suku. The big head spirit cooperated very well, shouting all around, "Explode!" All the power accumulated on the cloud-piercing sword exploded, colliding with the destiny light. With a thunderous boom, the heaven-seeking seal was once again sent flying. The destiny light hadn't been able to erase Suku and the cloud-piercing sword. Although the destiny light was very strong, Suku was after all a 9th-level Dao Venerable being. Plus, with the cloud-piercing sword constantly accumulating power from the Grand Formation, the enormous power offset the destiny light. The Destiny Great Tao was very strong, but even it had limits. As long as the power was strong enough, it could resist the destiny light. Suku and the big head spirit cooperated seamlessly. After shattering the destiny light, they once again killed their way to the heaven-seeking seal's front, giving it no chance to catch its breath. The heaven-seeking seal's spirit roared repeatedly. Countless flames gushed from the sea of fire in heaven and earth, condensing into hundreds of fire dragons rushing towards Suku. At the same time, things similar to hell fiends rushed out from the sea of fire. Lin Moyu had a thought and lightly pointed his finger. Skeleton hell appeared. Skeleton hell instantly expanded to its maximum range, enveloping the entire sea of fire in heaven and earth within it. Lava gushed in skeleton hell, intercepting all the fire dragons. Hell fiends pounced out frantically. A battle belonging to hell thus began. In the contest, skeleton hell quickly gained the upper hand, firmly suppressing the sea of fire in heaven and earth. A vast number of hell fiends turned from defense to offense, beginning to devour the sea of fire in reverse. Lin Moyu's skeleton hell had fused several hell fragments and had also fused with the netherworld black pool. The sea of fire evolved from a single hell fragment was no match for skeleton hell. If the hell fragment had evolved uninterrupted, devouring countless living beings and even devouring the origin spirit veins, that would have been a real big trouble. Now that it's been suppressed by the heaven-seeking seal for so many years, becoming a tool in the heaven-seeking seal's hands, it's not so terrifying anymore. Looking at it this way, the heaven-seeking seal also did some good things. Lin Moyu thought to himself that after skeleton hell devoured this hell fragment, its upper limit could be raised a bit more. The current skeleton hell was at the 9th level of Tao Venerable. It could at least be raised to the peak of the 9th level. As for the Great Tao realm, Lin Moyu hadn't thought about it. He knew it wasn't possible. Skeleton hell could surpass his own realm, but it was very difficult to cross major realm boundaries. His own realm would still hinder skeleton hell. If skeleton hell wanted to advance to the Great Tao realm, it might have to wait until he himself advanced to the Great Tao realm. Now he could only continuously enhance skeleton hell's power within the Tao Venerable realm, truly reaching the peak of Tao Venerable realm, preparing for the future. Seeing Lin Moyu devouring the hell fragment, the heaven-seeking seal anxiously cried out, "Stop, stop immediately." Without the hell fragment, it would be impossible for it to complete its nest usurping and become a true living being. The heaven-seeking seal was truly anxious. Infinite light shot out from the great seal, instantly turning into a 1,000-meter large seal crashing towards Lin Moyu. The heaven-seeking seal's momentum was powerful. Even Suku could only temporarily avoid its edge. Lin Moyu vibrated his time-cursed wings. The time and space great Taos completed their fusion, forming space-time power. With his wings vibrating, Lin Moyu avoided it as if teleporting. The great seal immediately crashed into empty space. But the heaven-seeking seal didn't get discouraged. It continued to chase and kill Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's form was unpredictable, changing erratically. The heaven-seeking seal couldn't touch Lin Moyu at all. Lin Moyu noticed that although it couldn't hit him, the light on the heaven-seeking seal was getting brighter and more dazzling. Suddenly, a loud warning sounded in his heart. His intuition sent a warning. Lin Moyu's expression changed. Without thinking, he put away Suku and brought the cloud-piercing sword to his hand. The formations accelerated their operation. Terrifying power immediately surged on the cloud-piercing sword. A ball of light exploded from the heaven-seeking seal. The heaven-seeking seal turned into a miniature version of the sun's origin. Lin Moyu saw the Destiny Great Tao descend with a boom, faintly visible above the heaven-seeking seal. Destiny Light Wheel. The light turned into wheels, exploding with a boom. Countless light wheels danced in this space. Skeleton generals touched by the light wheels were instantly erased. Then the light wheels exploded, carrying the erasing power from the Destiny Great Tao, illuminating the entire space. Large numbers of hell fiends died in the light. Skeleton hell constantly shook and trembled. The sea of fire evolved from the hell fragment was also pressed to its limit by the light, almost extinguished. Explode. The big head spirit cried out crisply. Terrifying power erupted from the cloud-piercing sword, forming a circle that rapidly expanded outwards, protecting Lin Moyu within it. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3465, 3465. Chapter 3465. If it will drop in realm, then you should die even more. The light of the Destiny Great Tao carried terrifying erasing power, invading from all directions without gaps. The cloud-piercing sword, borrowing power from the formation, had already become extremely powerful, reaching the peak of the Tao Venerable realm, almost able to compete with the pseudo-Great Tao realm. This level of power could block the Destiny Light, but it couldn't resist the Destiny Light Wheel. The light circle formed by the cloud-piercing sword was rapidly shrinking. Lin Moyu had a thought and simply put away the cloud-piercing sword, even retracting his undying golden body, to face the destiny light alone. The destiny light carried erasing power, illuminating Lin Moyu's entire body, but couldn't bring him even a bit of harm. Lin Moyu just bathed in the destiny light like this, looking as if he was enjoying sunbathing. He smiled and said, "It seems your destiny great Tao doesn't work on me." Lin Moyu had just thought that since he wasn't within destiny, the erasing power of the destiny great Tao should have no effect on him. Now that he had tried it, it was indeed so, completely harmless. The heaven-seeking seal was stunned on the spot. How is this possible? How is this possible? Its attack was to erase others within the destiny great Tao, but Lin Moyu wasn't within the destiny great Tao at all, so the attack naturally had no effect. Lin Moyu smiled, "Now it's my turn." He flicked his finger, and the world-burning fire flew out, exploding in the air and turning into a sea of fire. By the time the heaven-seeking seal came to its senses, it had already been engulfed by the world-burning fire. The world-burning fire burned souls, and spirit was one of them. The next second, a sharp cry sounded from the heaven-seeking seal. The world-burning fire had already crawled onto the heaven-seeking seal, enveloping the entire heaven-seeking seal in flames. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal struggled and rolled in the flames. It wanted to escape into the Great Tao Realm physical body, but at this moment, powerful force suddenly erupted from the Great Tao Realm physical body, refusing its entry. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal cried out incessantly. It had no power to resist the world-burning fire, and the destiny light was ineffective against Lin Moyu. It could only cry out and beg for mercy. "Spare me, I'm willing to acknowledge you as my master. I'll do whatever you say." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "He is your master, right?" The heaven-seeking seal cried out, "No, he's not my master. My master died in battle long ago. He's just my master's subordinate." Lin Moyu made an "oh" sound. "It seems you also wanted to turn the tables and become the master. Too bad, I don't like you." Saying this, Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, and the world-burning fire burned even more fiercely. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal screamed, "Don't kill me. I'm the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal. Only with me is the heaven-seeking seal a great Tao realm treasure. If I'm gone, the heaven-seeking seal will drop in realm." Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. "Really?" The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal thought Lin Moyu was tempted and cried out urgently, "It's true. Without me, the heaven-seeking seal is just a Tao Venerable realm treasure. I am the core of the heaven-seeking seal. It will drop from the great Tao realm." Lin Moyu pondered. "That's really good. Then I have even more reason not to keep you." The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was completely dumbfounded. What did Lin Moyu mean? Giving up a great Tao realm treasure and instead wanting a Tao Venerable realm one? It cried out unwillingly, "Have you gone mad? I'm the spirit of a great Tao realm treasure, and it's of the destiny great Tao. You actually don't want me? Are you insane?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "You wouldn't understand. Go in peace. I hope in your next life you can be a person." The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was finally burned to ashes, leaving nothing behind. Without the spirit, the aura of the heaven-seeking seal plummeted, its size shrinking to only as big as a palm. The throne that was tightly attached to the seal fell off as a result. Skeleton Hell had also reached its end at this moment. The Hell fragment had been devoured 7 or 8/10, and would soon be eaten clean. Lin Moyu reached out and took the heaven-seeking seal in his hand. After examining it, he found that it had indeed dropped to the 9th level of Tao Venerable. He smiled and looked at the great Tao realm powerhouse on the throne. "Elder, you should wake up now." The great Tao realm powerhouse slowly opened his eyes. "How did you know I had awakened?" Lin Moyu smiled. "I naturally have ways to know. May I ask how to address Elder?" The great Tao realm powerhouse slowly stood up. The throne beneath him turned into a meditation mat, then shrank to palm size, which he put away. He bowed slightly to Lin Moyu. "This Tao Lord is named Lifeng. Thank you, young friend, for saving my life. May I ask how to address you?" Lin Moyu returned the bow. "Lin Moyu greets Tao Lord Lifeng." Although Tao Lord Lifeng hadn't died, his soul was incomplete. He was already severely injured. It would be extremely difficult for him to recover. But at least he was alive. The characteristics of the great Tao realm still existed. He had enough time to find ways to recover. Tao Lord Lifeng looked at Lin Moyu, his eyes slightly strange. "This seat has one thing unclear and wishes to ask young friend. Lin Moyu said, please speak. Tao Lord Lifeng asked, why didn't young friend want the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal? It's a great Tao realm destiny treasure, very rare. Lin Moyu smiled, it's due to this junior's personality. I look down on such spirits. Tao Lord Lifeng still couldn't understand but didn't ask further. Since Lin Moyu had answered like this, that was the final answer. Asking more would be impolite. Lin Moyu also said at this moment, this junior also has something to ask. What did Elder encounter back then? Why did you end up here? At this moment, a hole opened in the sky, and streams of colorful light fell. The great Tao had sensed Tao Lord Lifeng's existence and came to receive him. Tao Lord Lifeng casually took out a jade tablet, pressed it to his brow for 2 seconds, then tossed the jade tablet to Lin Moyu. What happened back then is all recorded in here. This Tao Lord must leave now. When young friend steps into the outer great Tao in the future, this Tao Lord will come to welcome you. He left with the colorful light, departing from the origin continent. Except for a few special people, the current origin continent doesn't allow great Tao realm beings to appear. Tao Lord Lifeng, with his severely injured body, didn't want to resist the great Tao's reception, so he left quickly. Lin Moyu held the jade tablet, which emitted an ancient aura. Just the jade tablet itself was an excellent 7th level Tao Venerable material. This kind of jade didn't exist in the origin continent and must have come from the great Tao. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry to look at the information in the jade tablet. Instead, he summoned the Destiny Lich and held up the heaven-seeking seal. How about it? The Destiny Lich flew around the heaven-seeking seal twice, then lay on top of it, transmitting joyful thoughts, can eat. When Lin Moyu heard that the heaven-seeking seal would drop in realm after losing its spirit, he was delighted. He had already decided to let the Destiny Lich eat the heaven-seeking seal. That way, it surely couldn't be used by others. Compared to keeping an untrustworthy thing by his side, the Destiny Lich was much better. Between unreliable and reassuring, Lin Moyu chose reassuring. The Destiny Lich enveloped the heaven-seeking seal and began to devour it. The whole process would take some time. Only then did Lin Moyu begin to examine the information in the jade tablet. Tao Lord Lifeng had recorded a large amount of information in the jade tablet, including his background, why he came here, how to control Riftwind Cliff, and so on. As Lin Moyu looked at this information, it was as if he was seeing a magnificent epic battle. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3466, 3466. Chapter 3466, The Three Ancestors Calculations. Riftwind Cliff was not originally part of the origin continent. Initially, it was in the Outer Realm, an undeniable great Tao realm war fortress called the Tao Protection Fortress. There were many Tao Protection Fortresses, over 100, scattered throughout the void between the origin continent and the outer great Tao. Usually invisible, existing in different spatial dimensions, they would only appear when needed. This Tao Protection Fortress was numbered 68. Lin Moyu finally understood that the 68, carved outside the caves, was the fortress's number. Later, during the origin catastrophe, its original controller, the original owner of the heaven-seeking seal, Destiny Tao Lord, died in battle at that time. Tao Lord Lifeng was originally a subordinate of Destiny Tao Lord. He took over in the crisis, replacing Destiny Tao Lord's position to control the No. 68 Tao Protection Fortress. Later, this Tao Protection Fortress was severely damaged, almost destroyed in battle, and Tao Lord Lifeng was also seriously injured, falling into a coma. Before falling asleep, he hid the Tao Protection Fortress in the void, entering another layer of space. Unexpectedly, during the Great Battle, space was shattered, and this Tao Protection Fortress fell from the sky, crashing into the southern continent, creating a huge rift in the ground. The formation in the Tao Protection Fortress malfunctioned, creating terrible winds that blew constantly, eventually forming Riftwind Cliff. At that time, because the Destiny Great Tao was destroyed, and Destiny Tao Lord cultivated the Destiny Great Tao, his power was greatly reduced. After he died in battle, the heaven-seeking seal lost its master. Countless years later, the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal awakened and developed other ideas. The spirit wanted to usurp the nest and become a true living being. For this, the heaven-seeking seal made many preparations. It also discovered a hell fragment in the Tao Protection Fortress and used the power from the hell fragment to help achieve its goal. Coincidentally, Tao Lord Lifeng also awakened not long after, and thus began a struggle for the physical body. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was very strong, but Tao Lord Lifeng was severely injured and could only rely on his home field advantage to deal with it. Unable to defeat Tao Lord Lifeng immediately, the heaven-seeking seal thought of other methods. It attracted the Wu family to come in, gave them benefits, and had the Wu family provide origin crystals for it. In the Tao Protection Fortress, there were many treasures left behind by various powerful beings. Among them were also inheritances left by powerful beings, all of which were utilized by the heaven-seeking seal. The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal also left marks on many people, like avatars, having them understand the outside world while also searching for various things that could help it. It must be said that the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was very clever, thinking of all sorts of methods, all to deal with Tao Lord Lifeng. Tao Lord Lifeng didn't sit idly by either. He found ways to use the formations in the fortress to create wind spirits, preventing the Wu family from entering. But his power was too weak, and the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal still found ways to counter. The so-called protective jade pendants of the Wu family were actually the passage tokens from the Tao Protection Fortress back then. They fought for many years, and until Lin Moyu arrived, they hadn't reached a conclusion. During these years, Tao Lord Lifeng had been secretly using the formations in the fortress to recover and was much better than before. Taking advantage of Lin Moyu's arrival, he finally regained some initiative, refusing when the spirit of the heaven-seeking seal wanted to hide inside him. The whole matter was basically like this, though there might be some discrepancies but not too many. The main focus was on the great battle recorded inside, where countless great Tao realm beings engaged in fierce battles with enemies, destroying one Tao protection fortress after another, with countless great Tao realm beings perishing. The Tao protection fortresses were the last line of defense above the origin continent. In the outer Great Tao, there were countless such war fortresses. This great battle indeed severely injured the origin continent. However, Lin Moyu also saw that the outer Great Tao attached great importance to the origin continent. The root of this world was still the origin continent. Without the origin continent, the outer Great Tao would find it difficult to exist independently. As long as the origin continent still existed, even if the Great Tao was destroyed, except for a few special cases, it could recover one day. The Destiny Great Tao was like this. After being destroyed, it recovered again after countless years. So those great Tao realm beings protected the origin continent with their lives. The last thing recorded in the Jade Tablet was how to control the Tao Protection Fortress. However, now the formations in the Tao Protection Fortress were mostly damaged and temporarily couldn't be used. Repairing it wouldn't be easy. Lin Moyu thoroughly understood the control methods in the Jade Tablet. Although it can't be restored for now, the formations inside can be used by me. Riftwind Cliff is the Tao Protection Fortress. If I shut down the Tao Protection Fortress, then the Wu family's foundation will be cut off. But what exactly did the three ancestors want me to do? With a light sound, skeleton hell completed its devouring, and countless hell fiends howled to the sky, endlessly excited. Lin Moyu sensed that the aura of the hell fiends had reached the peak of the 8th level of Tao Venerable, just one step away from the 9th level of Tao Venerable. With a bit more to eat, it would probably become 9th level Tao Venerable. The upper limit of skeleton hell itself seemed to have increased a bit more. Currently, it was still at the 9th level of Tao Venerable, as Lin Moyu had thought, unable to break through further. As more and more hell fragments were devoured, marginal effects began to appear, with the effects gradually weakening. Lin Moyu put away skeleton hell and looked at the Destiny Lich. It was still continuing to fuse and needed a bit more time. Lin Moyu began to draw divine runes. Soon, they flew into the sky. A divine rune formation instantly appeared in the sky. The formation was severely incomplete, damaged everywhere. It was like a leaky net, very difficult to repair. The formation of the Tao Protection Fortress was no less than the formation of 9 Heavens Peak. Lin Moyu currently didn't have the ability to repair it. Lin Moyu's consciousness sank into the formation. He looked from within the formation. Although he couldn't repair it, it didn't prevent him from learning about the formation. The way of divine runes was profound and mysterious. He was still just a beginner now, with much more to learn. In the process of learning, Lin Moyu would also occasionally draw some divine runes, patching up some small damages. Gradually, Lin Moyu became more and more familiar with the Grand Formation, and his understanding of divine runes was constantly deepening. He had no teacher to teach him, and the only material was given by Ji Yu Hanyu. How well he could learn ultimately depended on himself. In the process of patching and learning, Lin Moyu finally discovered some clues. He knew where the wind opening the three ancestors wanted him to find was. The location of the wind opening was exactly at the center point of the Grand Formation. Combined with the information given by Tao Lord Lifeng, that was the core of the formation. It was because of problems with the core that the entire formation became chaotic, and the Tao Protection Fortress could no longer be used. Lin Moyu guessed what the three ancestors wanted to do. The three ancestors must have known long ago that Riftwind Cliff was the Tao Protection Fortress. He even knew what happened inside the Tao Protection Fortress. He actually wanted to obtain the Tao Protection Fortress. The three ancestors' calculations are really good. You want the Tao Protection Fortress to gain an advantage in the great changes of heaven and earth. As expected of the most astute businessman, this deal is brilliantly done. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3467, 3467. Chapter 3467, Big and Small Foxes, each with their own plans. The three ancestors were very trustworthy. He used the Hell Fragment as a price to have Lin Moyu do this task. He was certain that even if Lin Moyu knew their purpose, Lin Moyu would keep his word just like them. He would definitely do what he promised. Just as Lin Moyu understood the three ancestors also understood Lin Moyu. That's why Lin Moyu said the three ancestors were the most astute businessmen, truly understanding how to utilize human nature. An hour later, the Destiny Lich completed its absorption. The heaven-seeking seal disappeared, and the Destiny Lich was covered in a layer of golden light. The Destiny Lich became stronger, and Lin Moyu simultaneously received information transmitted from the Destiny Lich. Destiny Lich. Realm. Pseudo-Great Tao Realm. Grade. Perfect. Growth limit. None. Techniques. Destiny Guidance, Destiny Deprivation, Destiny Secrets. Destiny Guidance. Lock onto the enemy, search for the enemy's weaknesses within the Destiny Great Tao, provide guidance for other liches, attack targeting the weaknesses. Destiny Deprivation. Using the power of the Destiny Great Tao, temporarily deprive the enemy of their traces of existence. Enemies deprived of destiny will be rejected by the Great Tao. Works well on enemies of lower realm than oneself, average effect on same realm, no effect on enemies of higher realm. Destiny Secrets. Search for opportunities through the Destiny Great Tao, can be activated once every 10 days. The future is constantly changing, opportunities might also be misfortunes. The Destiny Lich's realm directly entered the pseudo-Great Tao realm, skipping the 9th level of Tao Venerable. This point surprised Lin Moyu a bit. The heaven-seeking seal was once a Great Tao realm treasure, made of superior materials. Although it dropped to the 9th level of Tao Venerable after losing its spirit, it was still extremely powerful. After the Destiny Lich devoured it, skipping the 9th level of Tao Venerable and becoming a pseudo-Great Tao realm being in one go wasn't impossible. Among the techniques, Destiny Guidance and Destiny Deprivation hadn't changed much, but due to the Lich's own realm increase, the usable range of Destiny Deprivation became wider. A new technique, Destiny Secrets, was added. This was exactly what Lin Moyu wanted, able to search for opportunities. Wu Xingguang had used this ability given by the heaven-seeking seal to find 3 people who could help him. Unfortunately, he encountered Lin Moyu all 3 times. Just as Destiny Secrets said, opportunities could also be misfortunes, and so Wu Xingguang lost his life. Now that the Destiny Lich had inherited this ability, Lin Moyu smiled to himself, from now on, you're going to become a fortune teller. Lin Moyu had a thought and had the Destiny Lich use Destiny Secrets on himself. He also wanted to see where his opportunities lay. Golden light shone brilliantly from the Destiny Lich, then enveloped Lin Moyu, giving him a warm feeling. Soon, the golden light disappeared, and Lin Moyu didn't feel where his future opportunities were. The Destiny Lich transmitted a simple message, failed. Lin Moyu was stunned, then realized the reason, it seems because I'm not within the Destiny Great Tao, so Destiny Guidance doesn't work on me. Lin Moyu wasn't discouraged. Although it was ineffective on himself, this technique would definitely be useful if used on others. Maybe I should set up a stall and become a professional fortune teller. Lin Moyu joked to himself. Destiny Secrets had already been used, and the next use would have to wait until 10 days later. In Lin Moyu's eyes, the Destiny Lich was already the strongest support, able to assist in battle and in treasure hunting. It was indeed a good thing. The only pity was that the Destiny Lich didn't inherit the Destiny Light of the Heaven-Seeking Seal. Otherwise, it would also have self-protection ability. Never mind, nothing can be too perfect. Excessive perfection will inevitably suffer backlash. Lin Moyu understood this principle. Even the Great Tao had to leave some leeway, so he couldn't demand too much. He put away the Destiny Lich and headed towards the location of the wind opening along the route he had obtained when examining the formation earlier. After flying for a while, he saw a tornado storm shooting straight into the sky from afar. This wind was the true source of the entire Riftwind Cliff. The year-round fierce winds in Riftwind Cliff came from here. Now he was like entering the eye of the storm. There wasn't even a bit of wind around, instead extremely calm. Lin Moyu looked at the bottom of the wind opening and saw something. Great Tao Fragment, he muttered, recognizing at a glance that this thing was a Great Tao Fragment, belonging to the Wind Great Tao. The Wind Great Tao hadn't collapsed. Instead, a powerful being had used their own methods to obtain fragments of the Wind Great Tao to set up formations. Using Great Tao fragments as formation eyes could make the power of the formation endless. The Great Tao fragment itself could continuously attract power from the outside. As long as nothing went wrong, it would almost never be exhausted. If the fortress hadn't been damaged and the formation hadn't been broken, the Great Tao fragment wouldn't have been exposed. Looking at it this way, the Tao protection fortresses might all use Great Tao fragments as formation eyes. With so many Tao protection fortresses, their attributes should also be different. Different Great Taos could complement each other, further enhancing their power. Utilizing various powers to the extreme, truly impressive. Lin Moyu admired those Great Tao realm powerhouses in his heart. The Great Tao realm's use of power was indeed more powerful than the Tao Venerable realm, directly targeting the essence. He took out the small house given by the three ancestor and threw it into the wind opening. The small house entered the wind opening but wasn't swept up. Instead, it emitted dazzling light, steadily staying within the wind opening. No matter how the fierce wind blew, the small house remained unmoved. After a few seconds, the small house began to grow. The originally palm-sized small house became a small house about 4 or 5 meters in diameter, looking no different from a real house. The door opened, and a figure walked out from inside. Three Ancestor. Lin Moyu was slightly startled, not expecting that there was an avatar of the three Ancestor inside the small house. The three Ancestor, avatar didn't speak. He held a treasure in his hand. The treasure emitted a faint light, and a tentacle extended from the treasure, like a rope, firmly binding to the Great Tao fragment. At this moment, the three Ancestor, avatar and the Great Tao fragment seemed to become one. All the fierce winds would detour when passing the small house. Lin Moyu knew that the three Ancestor had initially gained control of the Tao Protection Fortress. However, to fully control the Tao Protection Fortress, he was far from enough. Just the 360 formation nodes providing power to the Tao Protection Fortress were still in his hands. Now the Tao Protection Fortress was cut into two parts. The damaged formation in the core area belonged to the three Ancestor, while the formation nodes providing power to the core area slightly outside belonged to Lin Moyu. If Lin Moyu was ruthless and cut off the power supply, it would become impossible for the three Ancestor to fully control the Tao Protection Fortress. But Lin Moyu wouldn't do that. On the contrary, he would cooperate with the three Ancestor to a certain extent in controlling it. He also wouldn't let the three Ancestor know that the 360 formation nodes in the outer area had already been changed by him. After waiting for a while, the three Ancestor finally spoke, "Young friend Lin, we've completed another deal." Lin Moyu chuckled, "What you want is this Great Tao fragment?" He clearly knew the three Ancestor intentions but didn't point it out. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thanks again guys for your support, old enough tuber father. You all are real ones for helping me continue with this book. I truly appreciate your support more than words can express. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3468, 3468. Chapter 3468, Wind Lotus Elder's Invitation. Inwardly cursing the three ancestors, Lin Moyu knew exactly what the three ancestors was after, but he wouldn't say it out loud. Instead, he smiled and congratulated, "We each got what we needed." It was a pleasant transaction. The three ancestors' avatar chuckled. This ancestor has a question that perhaps shouldn't be asked, but still wants to ask. How did young friend Lin deal with the heaven-seeking seal? And that great Dao realm corpse? Lin Moyu smiled and said, "The spirit of the heaven-seeking seal was too arrogant. I didn't like that spirit, so I destroyed it." The three ancestors were stunned on the spot. "Destroyed it?" Lin Moyu said, "I know what you want to ask. After destroying it, the heaven-seeking seal dropped from the great Dao realm to the Dao Venerable realm, but I don't regret it." After hearing this, the three ancestors couldn't help but sigh. A spirit wanting to become human indeed faces many tribulations. This was its tribulation, which it failed to overcome. Lin Moyu said, "The world is full of endless tribulations. Aren't we cultivators facing tribulations at every step? If I didn't destroy it, it would have tried every means to kill me. I won't leave such a hidden danger for myself. Even if it was willing to acknowledge me as its master, it depends on whether I trust it or not." The three ancestors didn't dwell on this issue further, instead saying, "What about that great Dao realm corpse? Does young friend have any use for it? If not, you could sell it to this ancestor. The price is negotiable." Lin Moyu said, "That's not a great Dao realm corpse. That's Dao Lord Lifeng. He's not dead, so what do I have to sell?" Not dead. The three ancestors was surprised again, feeling that what happened here completely exceeded his understanding. Originally, with the small house in Lin Moyu's hands, even if it was placed in a storage ring, they had ways to sense what was happening outside. But Lin Moyu had used some unknown method to completely block his connection with the outside world. He knew nothing about everything that had just happened here. The three ancestors' reaction also let Lin Moyu know that he wasn't fully aware of what was happening here either. He knew some things, but not in detail. The three ancestors must have used some special methods to see the situation here. The Lufeng Chamber of Commerce always manages to obtain some extremely secret information, probably because of this. Lin Moyu thought to himself, but outwardly said, Dao Lord Lifeng had been in a state of false death. My arrival this time gave him an opportunity. Dao Lord Lifeng has now returned to the Great Dao. The three ancestors said, Great Dao realm beings always have various methods. He must be severely injured, right? Lin Moyu nodded. Yes, Dao Lord Lifeng is severely injured. However, observing his fortune, surviving a great calamity must bring great fortune. After returning to the Great Dao, he should be able to recover. The three ancestors sighed lightly again, for reasons unknown. Young friend Lin, what are your plans next? Lin Moyu said, I have nothing particular planned for now. I will return to the eastern continent. Does the three ancestors have any further instructions? The so-called instructions, of course, meant doing business. The three ancestors said, this ancestor promised to take you to the outer realm relics. This matter is still in preparation. The time isn't right yet, it might need a bit more time. Lin Moyu smiled and said, there's no rush. The three ancestors can prepare slowly. I happen to need to go back for some closed-door cultivation. When everything is ready, the three ancestors can send someone to inform me. The three ancestors said, good, we'll meet again then. After Lin Moyu left, the three ancestors' avatar began to take action, starting to draw divine runes to repair the core formation of the Dao Protection Fortress. His movements were very slow, the speed of drawing divine runes far inferior to Lin Moyu's. If Lin Moyu were here, he would see that the three ancestors hadn't gone far in the way of divine runes. The reason he was able to repair the core formation wasn't because they understood the core formation, but for other reasons. For example, if the three ancestors needed the formation diagram here, they could imitate it and slowly complete the repairs. However, repairing in this way would always have flaws. It was almost impossible to restore it to its original peak state. In the commercial city, the three ancestors' main body murmured softly, this youngster's methods are getting stronger and stronger, even this ancestor can't see through them clearly. Dao Lord Lifeng has returned to the Great Dao. If one day he enters the outer Great Tao, Lord Lifeng will surely repay him. It seems that in future dealings with him, I can give up a bit more profit. In business, sometimes giving up profit isn't a bad thing. Giving up profit here might allow for more profit to be earned elsewhere. The three ancestors understood this principle well. Lin Moyu's status in his heart rose once again. Outside Riftwind Cliff, Lin Moyu returned along the original path. Walking out from the cliff formed by divine runes, Lin Moyu saw Wind Lotus Elder. Wind Lotus Elder was cultivating. Sensing Lin Moyu, he looked up. Young friend Lin, was your journey smooth? Lin Moyu smiled and said, it was quite smooth. Thank you, Elder. Wind Lotus Elder staying here, besides cultivating himself, had another meaning. He was protecting Lin Moyu. Wind Lotus Elder asked, does young friend Lin have any plans next? Lin Moyu said, does Elder have any instructions? This junior has nothing particular planned next. Wind Lotus Elder smiled and said, Wind would like to invite young friend to be a guest at the ancient Lotus Holy Land, to taste the delicacies of the ancient Lotus Holy Land. Lin Moyu heard another layer of meaning in Wind Lotus Elder's words. His invitation was probably not just for tasting delicacies. However, he wasn't forcing, so it was just an invitation. Lin Moyu estimated the time and didn't refuse. This junior has long yearned for the delicacies of the ancient Lotus Holy Land. Even if Elder didn't invite me, this junior would have found an opportunity to visit and beg for food. Wind Lotus Elder laughed heartily. Good, then why not seize the day? Wind has just finished cultivation. Shall we go together? Lin Moyu said. Good, this junior still has some small matters to attend to. I trouble Elder to wait half a day. Wind Lotus Elder said. Of course. Wind will wait for young friend 100 miles east of Wind One City. Young friend need not hurry. Saying this, Wind Lotus Elder flew up and directly left Riftwind Cliff. After he left, Lin Moyu's gaze carried a hint of contemplation, inviting me to the ancient Lotus Holy Land. What exactly is the intention? Back then in the Eastern Continent, Fire Lotus Elder's attitude towards him was also extremely good. Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden was also upright and honest. Lin Moyu believed they shouldn't have any other schemes. That being the case, there was no harm in going. With his strength, he wasn't afraid of any tricks they might play. Lin Moyu also left Riftwind Cliff, returning to the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce in Wind City. In the Chamber of Commerce, Lu Zeng was already waiting there. Seeing Lin Moyu, he immediately said, Thank you, Mr. Lin. I have received news that Mr. Lin has completed the three ancestors matter. Lin Moyu said, the three ancestors and I had a fair trade. Elder Lu doesn't need to be so polite. I will be leaving, and before I go, I want to say a word to Elder Lu. Wind City might fall into chaos. Elder Lu should be careful here. If possible, you can take your people and temporarily avoid it. Lu Zeng was slightly startled. Mr. Lin is referring to the Wu family. Lin Moyu nodded. I observe that the Wu family's fortune has turned to misfortune reaching the heavens. It won't be long before chaos erupts. When the Wu family falls into chaos, Wind City will surely follow into great chaos. Even the entire Riftwind Cliff area won't be peaceful. Although the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is powerful, it will inevitably be affected. I'm just mentioning a possibility. Elder Lu should make his own decision. Lu Zeng took Lin Moyu's words very seriously and said solemnly, Zeng understands. Zeng will temporarily close the Chamber of Commerce and let people to avoid it. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3469, 3469. Chapter 3469, Digging Up the Wu Family's Roots. Lin Moyu took the Wu family's warship from Wind City back to Wind One City. Before leaving, Lin Moyu sent away the Misfortune Lich. Over such a long time, the Misfortune Lich had already converted a large amount of fortune into misfortune. The Wu family's fortune was very strong, and the composition of the family's fortune was very complex, affecting every member of the entire family. Relying solely on the Misfortune Lich, it was impossible to truly plunge the Wu family into misfortune. The Wu family's fortune would continuously wash away the misfortune until it was completely cleansed. Unless there was a truly unsolvable hidden danger within the family, the misfortune would continue to exist until it was eliminated. Just like the fortune of the Heavenly Fox clan at that time, because there was a problem with their ancestral land, the misfortune persisted. The misfortune lich had only made a start, forming a trigger. The real misfortune would be created by Lin Moyu's own hands. The Wu family had offended him, and this karmic debt had already been formed. It wasn't so easy to resolve. Lin Moyu wanted to sever the karmic ties, but he wasn't afraid of karma. If karma really came upon him, Lin Moyu wouldn't be polite. He wouldn't let himself suffer just to avoid karma. That would make it difficult for even his Tao heart and thoughts to be at ease. Lin Moyu's principle was, if there's a grudge, it must be repaid. If you punch me once, I'll return 100 punches. He wouldn't be polite at all. After flying out 10,000 meters from Wind One City, Lin Moyu found a good position and took out the formation disk of the ceiling absolute formation, activating it. His aura was quickly hidden, making it difficult for others to detect. Then, he began to draw runes. More complex divine runes were now at his fingertips, let alone mere runes. His hands moved like lightning, and in an instant, countless runes flew out from his palms, flying towards Wind One City. The formation in Wind One City was connected to the formation in Wind City. Between the two cities, a large area was covered by formations. Lin Moyu's runes silently infiltrated the formation in Wind One City, then spread towards Wind City along the formation's veins. Soon, the formation in One City was silently and completely changed. It still appeared to be controlled by the Wu family, but in reality, the true controller had become Lin Moyu. In the past, Lin Moyu would have found it difficult to achieve this, but after researching divine rune formations, Lin Moyu felt his understanding of formations had deepened further. Divine rune formations were like profound problems, while ordinary formations were like simple questions, presenting almost no difficulty. More and more runes flew out, and Lin Moyu's infiltration of the Wu family's formations became stronger and stronger. One formation after another was infiltrated and captured, but the Wu family was completely unaware of this. Only Lin Moyu could see that as he controlled more and more formations, the Wu family's fortune was changing, with misfortune rapidly increasing. Gradually, Lin Moyu completed the infiltration of all areas except Wind City, and began to approach Wind City. In the central area of Wind City, where the Wu family resided, two 9th-level elders of the Wu family almost simultaneously sensed something unusual. Wu Wenchen, a 9th-level elder of the Wu family, looked at the sky. My soul is in turmoil. I feel like something bad is going to happen. Is someone trying to deal with the Wu family? Wu Wenchen frowned deeply. He felt something was wrong but couldn't find the source. Wu Xuanwen thought for a moment and took out a treasure. Let me take a look. The treasure was a small round bowl with half a bowl of clear water. Wu Xuanwen dripped a drop of blood into the bowl, and the half bowl of clear water immediately turned bright red, then half of it quickly turned black. At first, the black blood occupied less than 1/10 of the area, but as time passed, the area of black blood gradually expanded, soon reaching 1/3. Wu Xuanwen and Wu Wenchen looked at each other. Something bad is really going to happen. Wu Wenchen's expression had become extremely solemn. Has our fortune deteriorated to this extent? The small bowl was a fortune-telling treasure that could check fortune. Red represented positive fortune, while black represented misfortune. Now misfortune had occupied 1/3 and was still slowly expanding, representing that misfortune was about to befall the Wu family. When the time came, it wouldn't just be certain individuals in the Wu family who would suffer misfortune, but the entire Wu family. But through the changes in fortune, they still couldn't find the source of the misfortune. For a moment, both 9th-level elders had a feeling of impending disaster. Should we wake up the ancestor? I don't think it's necessary. Even if the ancestor wakes up, he might not be able to find the source, and it would be difficult to seal him again. After spending half a day, Lin Moyu gradually gained control of Wind City's formation. Now from Wind City to Wind One City, and even to the other satellite cities, all the formations were under Lin Moyu's control. This was the terrifying aspect of the way of formations. Those big powers disliked offending formation masters the most. Once they offended a terrifying formation master, they might be trapped by formations silently and unknowingly. It was also possible that a formation carefully arranged by a big power might become a trap that killed themselves. In the history of the Origin continent, similar incidents had occurred many times. There was once a 6-star power that offended a 7th-grade formation master, resulting in that power being wiped out overnight. Moreover, they all died under their own formations. Now, Lin Moyu could also use formations to destroy the entire Wind City. But Lin Moyu didn't do so. The Wu family's formations weren't strong enough to kill the 9th level elders of the Wu family. With 9th level elders present, even the casualties among the Wu family members wouldn't be too great. Merely destroying Wind City was meaningless. What Lin Moyu wanted to do was cut off the Wu family's roots. The Wu family needed a large number of origin crystals. These origin crystals were meant for the heaven-seeking seal in Riftwind Cliff. Now that the heaven-seeking seal was gone, it didn't mean the origin crystals weren't needed anymore. The 3 ancestors had taken its place. This old fox naturally wouldn't let go of this piece of fat meat from the Wu family. In fact, Lin Moyu had already discussed with the 3 ancestors. The Wu family's origin crystals were still needed. The 3 ancestors would pretend that the heaven-seeking seal was still there. As for what Lin Moyu needed to do, it was to cause chaos in the Wu family. They would definitely go to Riftwind Cliff for help, and the rest would be the 3 ancestors' business. The 2 had already agreed to split the benefits 50-50, which was very fair. Lin Moyu controlled the formation, and with a thought, silently and invisibly, the time on the tokens of everyone in Wind City turned into countless 9s. The same was true for people in Riftwind Cliff. The time on their tokens also became infinite. People in Wind City discovered this change and cried out in surprise. Infinite time meant they could stay in Wind City indefinitely without needing to pay a single origin crystal. Wind City was one of the important sources of income for the Wu family. If people in Wind City stopped spending money, the Wu family's losses would be enormous. Not only that, but the formation in Wind 1 City suddenly stopped, and the formation between the 2 cities stopped. Everyone could freely travel to Wind City without obstruction. The Wu family's warships that were originally flying halfway suddenly descended and could no longer move. The entrance formation to Riftwind Cliff also disappeared at this moment, allowing everyone to enter. Riftwind Cliff covered a large area. Originally, there was only one entrance through Wind City, but now people could enter from anywhere. At the same time, beams of treasure light shot into the sky. Faintly, new treasures seemed to appear in Riftwind Cliff again. Lin Moyu looked at the treasure light and smiled. The 3 ancestors are cooperating very well. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3470, 3470. Chapter 3470, Can I Eat It? The order of the entire Wind City was completely disrupted. The moment Lin Moyu changed the rules, the Wu family's misfortune rapidly expanded, exceeding half. In this situation, the Wu family was about to start having bad luck. Not just 1 or 2 people, but everyone in the Wu family would have bad luck. As for how exactly they would have bad luck, Lin Moyu couldn't be bothered to care. That wasn't his business. He saw that many people were already heading towards Wind City. There were many treasures in Riftwind Cliff, and everyone was going to seek treasures. Riftwind Cliff covered a large area. The Wu family couldn't possibly guard the entire Riftwind Cliff, nor could they kill all those people. At this time, several powerful auras suddenly rose from Wind City. The Wu family quickly reacted, regardless of anything else, temporarily driving out all the people in Wind City. Wu family cultivators came out in droves to stop others from entering Riftwind Cliff. Although they couldn't stop everyone, they would stop as many as they could. After all, the Wu family had operated in the Riftwind Cliff area for many years and had great power. Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't let the Wu family have their way. Otherwise, wouldn't he have worked for nothing? Gusts of wind blew down from the formation, targeting these teams of Wu family cultivators. They hadn't even had time to fly out of Wind City before being attacked by the formation. Many Wu family members were seriously injured. The Wu family elders quickly took action to rescue the Wu family members. The formation didn't attack these elders because the formation's attacks had no effect on them. But relying solely on the Wu family elders, they basically couldn't spare any effort to stop so many people from entering Riftwind Cliff. They also didn't have the ability to drive everyone out of Wind City. They could kill everyone in Wind City, but trying to drive them out would be quite difficult. Moreover, those in Wind City were all cultivators, including some 7th level elders, not necessarily from Riftwind Cliff, but also outsiders. Lin Moyu watched for a while and then stopped paying attention, turning to fly towards the east of Wind 1 City. The cloud-piercing sword appeared behind him, with little Mei sitting on it munching on snacks. She smiled and said, the Wu family is in trouble now. Lin Moyu said, although the Wu family isn't like the other top powers, they still have some foundation. It won't be chaotic for long. Afterwards, they will definitely go to Riftwind Cliff to seek help from the Heaven-Seeking Seal. Then we'll see the three ancestors' performance. Little May smiled happily, the Wu family offended teacher, that's their bad luck. Lin Moyu shook his head, the Wu family was too domineering. They were bound to have problems sooner or later. I just gave them a push. Little May made a cute, sound and waved her little fist, the Wu family was indeed domineering. They should have been dealt with long ago. A lotus-shaped treasure ship appeared in view. Those with such shaped treasure ships must be from the ancient Lotus Holy Land. Lin Moyu casually said, I wonder what business the ancient Lotus Holy Land has in inviting me over. Little May munched on snacks, just go and see, right? With teacher's strength, you don't need to fear them at all. The ancient Lotus Holy Land's cuisine is very famous. I heard about it in my previous life, but unfortunately never had the chance to taste it. Lin Moyu smiled and said, you were already a 9th level elder then, yet you never tasted the ancient Lotus Holy Land's cuisine. Little May shook her head, all my thoughts were on cultivation then. Anyway, the ancient Lotus Holy Land's cuisine is the best in the entire southern continent, especially their ancient Lotus Immortal banquet, which is only held once every 10,000 years. It would be great if I could eat it once. In her previous life, Little May was obsessed with cultivation. In this life, besides cultivation, she was obsessed with food. She was living much better than in her previous life. According to Little May, in her previous life she was alive, but in this life she wanted to live. On the lotus-shaped warship, Wind Lotus Elder stood at the bow. Seeing Lin Moyu, he immediately flew out of the warship to welcome him personally. He was extremely polite to Lin Moyu, but the more polite he was, the more it meant that the matter might be more troublesome. Young friend Lin, have you finished your business? If not, I'm not in a hurry, Wind Lotus Elder asked with a smile. Lin Moyu said, thank you for waiting, Elder. I've finished. Wind Lotus Elder said, in that case, please come aboard, young friend. Lin Moyu boarded the warship and introduced Little May to Wind Lotus Elder, this is my disciple, Little May. Little May also politely bowed to Wind Lotus Elder, calling him, Elder. Wind Lotus Elder smiled warmly and took out an ancient-looking lotus flower to give to Little May, this is my welcome gift for you, little girl. Don't think it's too small. Little May wasn't polite at all and directly accepted it, happily saying, thank you, Elder. Little May looked cute, and Wind Lotus Elder clearly liked her very much. The warship started moving towards the ancient Lotus Holy Land. Wind Lotus Elder asked, young friend just came from Wind One City. Do you know about the chaos in Wind City? Lin Moyu said, indeed there was chaos. It seems there was a problem with the formation. Wind Lotus Elder said, I saw some from afar. Many people went over, and there was also treasure light shooting into the sky from Riftwind Cliff. It seems a large number of treasures have appeared again. If that's really the case, the Wu family is in trouble now. It will probably be chaotic for a while. Lin Moyu made an affirmative sound, it should be. But with the Wu family's abilities, it won't be chaotic for too long. Wind Lotus Elder agreed deeply, yes, the Wu family has operated in Riftwind Cliff for many years. Their power is deeply rooted. In all the big and small powers in Riftwind Cliff, there are Wu family members. Moreover, the Wu family still has their ancestor. Although he has sealed himself, if the Wu family really faces a crisis, he will come out. Lin Moyu asked, it seems the Wu family ancestor is still at the Dao Venerable realm. If he were at the pseudo-great Dao realm with unlimited lifespan, he wouldn't need to seal himself. Only Dao Venerables need to seal themselves to live longer. Wind Lotus Elder pondered, indeed, he is at the Dao Venerable realm, but he's the strongest among Dao Venerables. It's said he has a treasure that can temporarily elevate his realm to the pseudo-great Dao realm. Lin Moyu chuckled lightly, whether he's strong or not is irrelevant to me. Elder, why don't you tell me why you've invited me to the ancient Lotus Holy Land? This matter has troubled us for many years. The ancient Lotus Immortal banquet, which occurs once every 10,000 years, is approaching. We have divined that we might be able to solve the problem that has troubled us for many years during this immortal banquet. We went to ask the three ancestors and paid a great price for their help. In the end, we got the result that to solve this problem, we need young friend Lin's help. To be honest with young friend Lin, our meeting in Riftwind Cliff wasn't a coincidence but inevitable. Lin Moyu already understood that Wind Lotus Elder came to Riftwind Cliff specifically to find him. As for how he knew Lin Moyu would be in Riftwind Cliff, needless to say, it must have been the three ancestors who told him. Lin Moyu said calmly, "It seems the three ancestors received quite a lot of money." Wind Lotus Elder said, "As long as that matter can be resolved, any price is worth it." Lin Moyu began to wonder what exactly the matter was that the ancient Lotus Holy Land was so concerned about. Little May asked softly from the side, "Is the ancient Lotus Immortal banquet really going to be held? Can I eat it? ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3471, 3471. Chapter 3471, 7-Star Holy Land. They hadn't even reached the ancient Lotus Holy Land yet, let alone seen a glimpse of the Immortal banquet, but Little May's mouth was already watering in anticipation. Wind Lotus Elder was amused by Little May. "Of course you can. Once the ancient Lotus Immortal banquet begins, little girl, you'll certainly be an honored guest." Little May jumped up happily, "Then I'll eat to my heart's content." Wind Lotus Elder nodded repeatedly, all right, you can even take some home." Before long, Little May and Wind Lotus Elder were on familiar terms, the old and young getting along harmoniously. If outsiders didn't know better, they might think they were grandfather and granddaughter. Lin Moyu didn't say a word, letting Little May speak freely, even if she occasionally spoke without filters. He knew Little May had discretion and wouldn't say anything inappropriate. Moreover, Little May was subtly trying to probe Wind Lotus Elder's intentions. Wind Lotus Elder seemed to like this little girl very much, and he could also see that Lin Moyu doted on this disciple of his. Under Little May's skillful probing, Lin Moyu roughly understood that the problem the ancient Lotus Holy Land wanted his help to solve had troubled them for countless years, but there shouldn't be any danger. To solve this matter, the ancient Lotus Holy Land was willing to pay an enormous price, almost without setting an upper limit. Lin Moyu was also very curious about what kind of matter could make the ancient Lotus Holy Land willing to pay such a price. He checked the information on the ancient Lotus Holy Land and knew it was extremely ancient, the oldest among all the Holy Lands. Its history could be traced back to before the origin catastrophe. When the origin catastrophe occurred, the ancient Lotus Holy Land already existed. It's very likely they even participated in the origin catastrophe. The fact that the ancient Lotus Holy Land could survive the origin catastrophe was enough to prove their powerful strength. Moreover, after the origin catastrophe, the ancient Lotus Holy Land must have been one of the first powers to recover. At that time, there were relics left from the war everywhere. If they had the intention, they must have been able to gain great benefits from them. Based on this reasoning, the foundation of the ancient Lotus Holy Land might have exceeded imagination. So, a problem that the ancient Lotus Holy Land was willing to solve at any cost was very likely a problem left over from the time of the origin catastrophe. Lin Moyu organized his thoughts. The ancient Lotus Holy Land's problem should be related to the several worlds that came from outside. The army that attacked the southern continent back then came from the 7-Star Realm, and later the Black Blood Realm was also involved. However, for the problem to remain for so many years, it's obviously not just thorny, but also somewhat strange. That being said, it's very likely related to the Blackwater Realm. Experience after experience had given Lin Moyu some of his own views on the situation of the origin catastrophe back then, and a map had already been woven in his mind. The eastern continent was once invaded by the God Realm, so outer realm gods and their divine pets were left in the eastern continent. The northern continent was invaded by the Blood Rat Realm, behind which was the Black Blood Realm, so there were also remnants of the Black Blood Realm in the northern continent. The southern continent was invaded by the 7-Star Realm. The 7-Star Realm should have been subordinate to the God Realm, but they had already joined forces at that time, so it didn't matter whose subordinate they were. Besides these, there was also a Firewood Realm, which currently showed no trace. The Lotus Flower warship was extremely fast, even 3 points faster than the cloud-piercing sword. It took only half a day to fly out of Riftwind Cliff and enter the 7-Star Holy Land's territory. As they entered the 7-Star Holy Land, the Sun and Moon origins had just completed their alternation. The Moon origin hung high in the sky, its gentle origin power spreading across the origin continent. The Moon rune on Lin Moyu's brow flashed brightly. He stood at the bow of the ship, facing the wind, looking ethereal like an immortal descending to the mortal world, making it impossible for people to look directly at him. Lin Moyu looked at the sky. Above the night sky, 7 stars shone brightly, each star trailing a thin, long tail behind it. Wind Lotus Elder smiled and said, "So the moon's child that appeared a few years ago was Mr. Lin." Lin Moyu joked, "Does Elder want to consider capturing me and taking me back?" Wind Lotus Elder laughed heartily, "No need to capture, no need to capture. Isn't Mr. Lin already coming back with this old man?" Lin Moyu said, "But the nature is different." Wind Lotus Elder smiled and said, "Anyway, as long as you're coming back, it's fine. When the moon's child was born back then, we didn't send anyone out." Lin Moyu understood that Wind Lotus Elder was telling him that they had no ill intentions towards the moon's child. The moon's child held no attraction for them either. This was a kind of pride, and also confidence. The ancient Lotus Holy Land had confidence in themselves. Whatever moon's child, they didn't care about it at all. Lin Moyu looked at the sky and said calmly, "The 7 hanging stars in the 7-star Holy Land are quite interesting." Wind Lotus Elder looked at the sky with Lin Moyu. "Indeed, they are quite interesting. It's said that those stars are related to that catastrophe back then." Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed slightly, becoming sharp. "Is it related to the 7-star realm?" Wind Lotus Elder turned his head to look at Lin Moyu, his eyes showing a bit of surprise. Clearly, he was surprised that Lin Moyu knew about the 7-star realm. Matters related to the 7-star realm were not something everyone could know. Even top powers like the Wu family didn't know about the 7-star realm. Among the top powers, not many knew about the 7-star realm. This was the difference in foundation. Wind Lotus Elder said, "Since Mr. Lin knows about the 7-star realm, it's simple to explain. Back then, when the 7-star realm invaded our southern continent, they entered from here. They broke through the barrier between heaven and earth to enter the southern continent. These 7 things that look like stars are actually 7 scars left behind back then. The name of the 7-star Holy Land comes from these 7 scars. In fact, they have no relation to the 7-star realm. The 7-star Holy Land first appeared 90,000 years after the end of the origin catastrophe. The ancestor of the 7-star Holy Land back then discovered a great Tao realm being who had died in the origin catastrophe, obtained their inheritance, and thus created the 7-star Holy Land." Wind Lotus Elder knew the early history of the 7-star Holy Land like the back of his hand, explaining it very clearly. This also showed how profound the foundation of the ancient Lotus Holy Land was. Lin Moyu asked, "So, does this mean there's no great Tao realm being behind the 7-star Holy Land?" Wind Lotus Elder shook his head. "No, they have great Tao realm beings, and more than one. The inheritance they obtained is backed by a power in the outer great Tao. The 7-star Holy Land can be seen as their Tao lineage inheritance in the origin continent." His tone gradually became serious. "Don't underestimate the 7-star Holy Land. Their ambitions are not small." For Wind Lotus Elder to say their ambitions were not small, it must not be a small matter, and it was very likely to concern the entire southern continent, or even the entire origin continent. Lin Moyu casually asked, "Do you know what it is?" Wind Lotus Elder shook his head slightly. "It's not clear. Using these 7 scars, the 7-star Holy Land has a way to contact those beings in the outer Great Tao. They should be acting under their instructions." Lin Moyu had a thought. He guessed that what the 7-star Holy Land was doing might be related to the great changes in heaven and earth. Could it be that those troublemakers in the outer Great Tao also want to have a hand in the great changes of heaven and earth? The 3 ancestors and the Beast Emperor have stayed in the origin continent for so many years for the sake of the great changes in heaven and earth. That old bastard also wants me to take the lead in the great changes in heaven and earth. What exactly is in the great changes in heaven and earth? ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Chapter 3472, The Ancient Land. Many things can only be truly understood when they actually occur, revealing their real roots. Currently, all speculations are just that, speculations. Sometimes thinking too much can bring more troubles. Lin Moyu set aside his thoughts. He felt that the path should be taken step by step, seeing what happens with each step. As long as one's own strength is sufficient, any situation can be faced calmly. As the sun origin appeared, its bright light obscured the 7 hanging stars, temporarily hiding the scars left on the origin continent from people's view. The warship crossed the 7-star Holy Land and entered the territory of the ancient Lotus Holy Land. The ancient Lotus Holy Land's territory wasn't large, even smaller than the 7-star Holy Land and the 10,000 Scenes Holy Land, and not in the central area of the southern continent. However, everywhere in the ancient Lotus Holy Land exuded an ancient and profound aura. Origin spirit veins intertwined here, emitting powerful origin force. Lin Moyu noticed that in the ancient Lotus Holy Land's area, there was more than one top-tier origin spirit vein. Just this foundation alone was incomparable to other top powers. Wind Lotus Elder said, Mr. Lin must have already noticed that our place is somewhat different from others. Lin Moyu gazed at the land. This is a very ancient land. It's very peaceful here. It seems there hasn't been any disturbance for many years. Wind Lotus Elder sighed somewhat. Among all the holy lands in the southern continent, our ancient Lotus Holy Land has the longest history of existence. But precisely because it's too ancient, many people aren't accustomed to this place. Over these many years, many people have come and gone. Some settled here, made homes, and built powers, while many others left. Perhaps they couldn't get used to the tranquility here and yearned for a more turbulent world. As Lin Moyu listened to Wind Lotus Elder's reflections, a thin mist appeared in his eyes, and the ancient Lotus Holy Land suddenly changed appearance before him. Streams of fortune, transformed into long dragons, coiled on this ancient land. These fortune dragons intertwined, like a magnificent painting. Mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas formed under the fortune dragons, nurturing countless living beings. The ancientness of this land wasn't just because it hadn't been affected by war, but more because its terrain hadn't changed for countless years. Numerous origin spirit veins converged here. Just from what Lin Moyu could see, there were 3 8th grade origin spirit veins, as well as several 7th and 6th grade origin spirit veins. These origin spirit veins firmly stabilized the terrain, making this land a true paradise holy land. Among the fortune dragons, there were also various unique fortunes rising. These were the fortunes formed by various powers, weaker than the ancient Lotus Holy Land's fortune, and existing dependent on the ancient Lotus Holy Land's fortune. Gradually, Lin Moyu saw the clues and understood what Wind Lotus Elder meant about why some people wouldn't get used to this place. Seeing Lin Moyu's expression, Wind Lotus Elder asked, "Has Mr. Lin seen something?" Lin Moyu said, "The ancient Lotus Holy Land's work is truly grand. A formation spanning several million miles is rare." Wind Lotus Elder was slightly surprised, then smiled and said, "Mr. Lin indeed has good eyesight." The ancient Lotus Holy Land was actually a huge formation. All the settlement points of the powers inside were at the formation eye positions. Obviously, these places were all chosen by the ancient Lotus Holy Land. One couldn't just live wherever they wanted. Others became formation eyes, while the ancient Lotus Holy Land controlled the entire formation. Therefore, on this ancient land, there would be no conflicts. Each power was far apart from others. Even if there were conflicts, winning wouldn't matter because the opponent's territory couldn't become yours. Without the drive of benefits, conflicts naturally wouldn't exist. Some people with ambitions couldn't stand such an environment, so they left. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Your holy land has turned this place into a paradise outside the mundane world. It's indeed very good. But there's one thing Lin doesn't understand." Wind Lotus Elder said, "What doesn't Mr. Lin understand?" Lin Moyu said, 3 8th grade origin spirit veins, and several 6th and 7th grade origin spirit veins all converge their power towards one direction. If your holy land isn't trying to cultivate a 9th grade origin spirit vein, then you must be suppressing something. I wonder if this is related to the problem your holy land is facing. At this, Wind Lotus Elder was completely shocked. They had just entered the ancient Lotus Holy Land not long ago, yet Lin Moyu could see so much. These things, let alone an outsider like Lin Moyu, even people in their holy land wouldn't know before becoming 7th level elders. Amidst his shock, Wind Lotus Elder actually felt hope. He thought that perhaps the problem that had troubled them for countless years might have a solution. Wind Lotus Elder suddenly bowed to Lin Moyu. "Mr. Lin's insight is truly sharp. Indeed, it's related to the problem in our holy land. The specifics will be explained truthfully when Mr. Lin arrives." Lin Moyu nodded with a smile, not asking further. He continued to look at this ancient land, observing the fortune through the fortune great Tao. Following the flow of fortune, the ancient Lotus Holy Land's grand formation gradually appeared before his eyes. This formation was equally ancient, using origin spirit veins to set up the formation. Just in terms of scale, it was comparable to the formation set up by Withering and Flourishing Elder. But in terms of level, it was more advanced than Withering and Flourishing Elder's formation. These origin spirit veins intertwined, actually forming divine runes. Lin Moyu looked very carefully and confirmed that they were indeed divine runes. Although the divine runes formed by origin spirit veins weren't perfect, with quite a few small problems, these problems didn't have much impact. The advantages of the origin spirit veins themselves were enough to make up for it. Lin Moyu felt that once this formation was activated, even a 9th level Dao Venerable would be trapped and killed within it. Moreover, with the origin spirit veins intertwining, if one couldn't destroy the origin spirit veins, it would be impossible to break this formation. From this, it could be seen that the person who set up this formation was a powerful formation master from prehistoric times. At least their formation skills were above Jiyu Hanyu's. Lin Moyu's eyes flickered. If I could get their formation materials, it should be quite helpful to me. He had already made up his mind. If he could help the ancient Lotus Holy Land solve their problem this time, perhaps he could ask for some formation materials. The ancient Lotus Holy Land had existed since before the origin catastrophe. Surely they must have corresponding materials. After flying for half a day, the warship finally arrived at the main gate of the ancient Lotus Holy Land when the moon origin appeared again. 36 lakes, carried by the earth, flew in midair, forming the shape of a lotus flower. Wind Lotus Elder introduced. This is the Lotus Lake of the ancient Lotus Holy Land. The Lotus Lake has 4 layers, inner and outer, composed of 6, 8, 10, and 12 formations combined, surrounding the central Lotus Core Sacred Hall. The warship flew towards the central Lotus Core Sacred Hall. The formation protecting the Lotus Lake opened layer by layer. Countless lotus flowers were planted in the lake, of various species and myriad colors. Waves of fragrance entered the nose. Little May couldn't help but exclaim, "It smells so good." At this moment, Wind Lotus Elder waved his hand, and a pink lotus flower automatically flew up into his hand. He gave the lotus flower to Little May. Not only does it smell good, it's also very delicious. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3473, 3473. Chapter 3473, finally, we've been waiting for you. Little May first sniffed the lotus flower, then without any hesitation, plucked off a petal and put it in her mouth. A sweet taste exploded in her mouth, and Little May squinted her eyes, "It's so sweet." Wind Lotus Elder chuckled, "These lotus flowers are not only beautiful but also one of our foods. At the same time, they are also necessary for our cultivation." Most of the techniques and secret arts of the ancient Lotus Holy Land were related to lotus flowers. There were many types of lotus flowers here, some ordinary and many at the level of heavenly and earthly treasures. Some could be used for refining equipment and medicines. As they approached the Lotus Core Sacred Hall, the fragrance of flowers became stronger, and within the dense floral scent was a rich aura of origin essence. Numerous origin spirit veins converged here, turning the entire Lotus Lake into a sacred cultivation ground. Wind Lotus Elder's warship stopped on a lotus petal near the Lotus Core Sacred Hall. Wind Lotus Elder put away the warship and gestured with his hand, "Mr. Lin, this way." Lin Moyu nodded and followed Wind Lotus Elder onto the petal. The petal automatically flew up, carrying the 3 of them towards the Lotus Core Sacred Hall. The Lotus Core Sacred Hall was also shaped like a flower stamen, pure white all over, exuding a sacred aura. Along the way, they encountered several disciples of the ancient Lotus Holy Land. They all bowed and greeted Wind Lotus Elder, while also showing great curiosity towards Lin Moyu and Little May, giving them looks of attention. Obviously, not many people came here usually, otherwise they wouldn't react like this. Wind Lotus Elder explained, "Please don't mind, Mr. Lin, not many people come here usually." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "There shouldn't be many visitors in a holy land. It's the same in other holy lands." The petal flew into the sacred hall. Inside the hall, the fragrance turned into mist, obscuring the view of the interior. Wind Lotus Elder called out loudly, "Holy Lord, Mr. Lin has arrived." The voice traveled into the mist, and then the fragrance became stronger while the mist dissipated, revealing the situation inside the sacred hall. These changes, in Lin Moyu's eyes, were actually just illusions controlled by a low-level formation. After all, it was a holy land, so they had to show off a bit. Lin Moyu could understand. In the sacred hall, at the main seat, which should be the Holy Lord's position, a young woman in a pink and white robe had already stood up and walked over. She had a beautiful appearance with a hint of aloofness, like a pure white lotus flower. Lin Moyu noticed that her temperament was somewhat similar to the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden. Lin Moyu knew she was the current Ancient Lotus Holy Lord. In the Ancient Lotus Holy Land, anyone who became the Holy Lord was called the Ancient Lotus Holy Lord, temporarily not using their previous surname and given name. Just like their Holy Maiden, who was uniformly called the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden. As for what they were called before, it wasn't important. This was their rule. Names were just codes to them. Although it seemed fine, Lin Moyu could feel that this was to make all disciples of the Ancient Lotus Holy Land consider it their home, themselves just a part of it, rather than individuals. All power had to be twisted together, not dispersed. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord walked up to Lin Moyu and slowly bowed. "Greetings, Mr. Lin." Her posture was very humble, coming over to greet him personally, without any airs of a holy lord. Lin Moyu knew that she must have received the news sent back by Wind Lotus Elder early on and wasn't surprised at all by his arrival. Lin Moyu also smiled and returned the bow. Lin Moyu greets the Holy Lord. "Mr. Lin's journey must have been tiring. I've already had people prepare a banquet." The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord chuckled lightly, a smile appearing on her beautiful face, like a celestial lotus blooming, indescribably beautiful. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Is the Holy Lord not in a hurry?" The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, "We are in a hurry, but it's not so urgent that we can't spare this moment. We want to inform Mr. Lin of the details of the matter. Why don't we talk while we eat?" Lin Moyu said, "That's fine. I also want to try the delicacies of the Ancient Lotus Holy Land." The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord immediately led the way, walking out of the Lotus Core Sacred Hall. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord's cultivation level was very high. Lin Moyu found that she was different from the Holy Lords and Sect Masters of other top powers. In other top powers, most Holy Lords were at the 6th level of Tao Venerable, essentially managers of their respective powers. Those 7th level and above elders were basically focused on cultivation, only coming out when there were important matters. Without major events, they wouldn't appear. But the Ancient Lotus Holy Lord was far beyond the 6th level of Tao Venerable, even beyond the 7th level. When facing Wind Lotus Elder, she treated him as an equal, and Wind Lotus Elder's tone even carried a hint of respect. The Ancient Lotus Holy Land, which had existed since prehistoric times, was indeed very different from current powers. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord summoned a lotus flower, leading everyone to fly towards the sky. In the Ancient Lotus Holy Land, numerous lotus flowers floated in the sky. These lotus flowers varied greatly in size, with the largest having a diameter of several hundred meters and the smallest only 10 meters. On many lotus flowers, there were disciples of the Holy Land, either cultivating or drinking tea and discussing the Tao, looking very comfortable. They arrived at the highest and largest lotus flower, with more than a dozen slightly smaller lotus flowers arranged in a circle like meditation cushions. In the center, a lotus-shaped large table was filled with various exquisite foods. "It's so beautiful," Little May exclaimed. Regardless of taste, just in terms of appearance, it was the most exquisite food she had ever seen. Wind Lotus Elder smiled and said, "Not only beautiful, but also delicious." On the lotus flower, several people were already waiting there. Lin Moyu saw an old acquaintance, the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden was obviously stunned for a moment when she saw Lin Moyu. After they landed, the Lotus Holy Lord waved her jade hand. "Mr. Lin, please be seated." Then she beckoned to the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden. "Immortal Lotus, come sit with Mr. Lin. You are old acquaintances after all." The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden immediately walked over quickly. "Fellow Taoist Lin, long time no see." Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "Long time no see indeed. Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden's cultivation has greatly improved. Congratulations." The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden shook her head. "Fellow Taoist Lin is the impressive one. I can't even see through your cultivation level now." The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden's cultivation had now reached the 3rd level of Tao Venerable. After returning from the genius competition, she had risen another level, but compared to Lin Moyu, the difference was quite large. After the two sat down, the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden sighed lightly. "I heard the Holy Lord and others say they were going to find Mr. Lin. I didn't expect Mr. Lin to be you." Lin Moyu smiled and said, How about it, are you surprised or disappointed? The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden shook her head, neither surprised nor disappointed, just somewhat in awe. Mr. Lin is indeed different from others, beyond our comparison. Lin Moyu smiled, what's so different? I just had a bit more luck, went back and forth at death's door a few more times, and then didn't walk in. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden knew that Lin Moyu must have encountered many dangers. Although we are safe here, we also miss out on some thrills. Lin Moyu said, actually, this is not bad. Some people are destined not to experience those things. He saw that the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden's fortune was extremely prosperous. Her cultivation path must be smooth sailing. In the future, reaching the 9th level of Tao Venerable would be no problem, and even going a step further wasn't impossible. At this moment, a flame lit up in the sky, and Fire Lotus Elder arrived impetuously on the lotus flower, coming to Lin Moyu's side. Young friend Lin, we've finally been waiting for you to come. Chapter 3474, 3474. Chapter 3474, take whatever you like. Fire Lotus Elder was as enthusiastic as fire, completely different from Wind Lotus Elder. Lin Moyu chatted with Fire Lotus Elder for a few sentences before Fire Lotus Elder was called away. Soon, one elder after another arrived. Lin Moyu saw part of the ancient Lotus Holy Land's foundation. Just the 9th level Tao Venerable Elders alone numbered 6. This was only on the surface. Underground, there must be even more 9th level elders. A few more wouldn't be surprising. Not to mention 9th level elders, if 1 or 2 pseudo-great Tao realm beings walked out of the ancient Lotus Holy Land now, Lin Moyu would find it quite normal. After all, as a top power that survived the origin catastrophe, their foundation must be incredibly strong. Perhaps they could even keep great Tao realm beings here. What the 3 ancestors and Beast Emperor could do, the ancient Lotus Holy Land might not be incapable of. After everyone arrived, the banquet began. One dish after another automatically flew up from the central table, coming to circle in front of each person, slowly rotating. People could take whatever they wanted to eat. When dishes were emptied, new food would be replenished. Little May was delighted. She squinted her eyes as she took food, finding everything delicious and stuffing her mouth. Little May didn't care about her image at all. She had said that in this life, she wanted to live freely. This was Little May's Tao heart, so Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't interfere. Lin Moyu didn't speak. Those elders of the ancient Lotus Holy Land who still needed Lin Moyu's help, even if they disapproved, wouldn't say anything. After 3 rounds of drinks, the ancient Lotus Holy Lord finally spoke, Mr. Lin, the reason we invited you here is that we have a matter that has troubled us for many years and need your help. Lin Moyu said, Elder Wind Lotus mentioned this earlier. Before discussing the matter, Lin has a question. How did all the elders know that Lin would be able to solve this matter? The ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, to be honest with Mr. Lin, we have a treasure in our holy land that can inquire about causes and ask about effects. We use this treasure once every 100 years to see if an opportunity has appeared. Until half a year ago, when we used the treasure again, it showed that someone who could solve our problem had appeared. The treasure couldn't point out exactly who this person was, only giving a vague direction. So we went to ask the 3 ancestors. After the 3 ancestors' guidance, we learned that this person was Mr. Lin. Hearing this explanation, Lin Moyu understood. A treasure that could inquire about causes and ask about effects was naturally a cause and effect type treasure. The effects of such treasures were extremely mysterious and hard to fathom. It was reasonable for it to have such an effect. Lin Moyu smiled and said, to get some information from the 3 ancestors, I imagine the price wasn't small, right? The ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, it was all right. Although the 3 ancestors' price wasn't cheap, they didn't ask for an exorbitant amount. Whether it was exorbitant or not, only they themselves knew. However, with the ancient Lotus Holy Land's foundation, this small price shouldn't be a problem. Lin Moyu said, since the 3 ancestors said Lin can do it, Lin will certainly try his best. But Lin also has a small request. If Lin succeeds, could the Holy Land lend Lin Moyu your formation materials to read? The ancient Lotus Holy Lord was slightly stunned. Could Mr. Lin be more specific? Lin Moyu said, when I first entered the ancient Lotus Holy Land, I saw an ancient divine rune formation. Lin is very interested in this formation, so I'd like to borrow the formation materials to read. The ancient Lotus Holy Lord sighed. If it were any other request, ancient Lotus could decide. But for Mr. Lin's request, Ancient Lotus cannot make the decision. It wasn't that they were unwilling, but that they couldn't make the decision. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord continued, the person who can make this decision is precisely the one we want Mr. Lin to help. If he agrees, we naturally have no objections. If he doesn't agree, we can't do anything about it. She pondered for a few seconds before speaking again. How about this, if he doesn't agree to Mr. Lin's request, Ancient Lotus will open our treasure vault for Mr. Lin to choose treasures freely. In the treasure vault, there are 9th level Tao Venerable treasures, 7th grade origin spirit veins, and some other things. Indeed, their foundation was profound. They even had 7th grade origin spirit veins. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and said, that's fine. How about this, Lin doesn't want 9th level treasures or 7th grade origin spirit veins. For other slightly inferior items, if Lin likes them, can I choose a few more? The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord immediately said, no problem. Mr. Lin, as long as you like it, feel free to take it. She spoke very generously. The more generous she was, the more it showed how difficult this matter was. With the conditions agreed upon, it was time for the main business. Lin Moyu said, then please tell me what the matter is. The more detailed, the better. Lin will see if there's a way. Since the cause and effect treasure pointed to himself, he must be able to solve it. The possibility of the cause and effect Great Tao being wrong was small. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord lightly tapped her finger, and the sky burst with colorful light, opening a huge hole in the sky. Countless colorful lights fell from all directions like waterfalls, and extremely dense origin essence poured down from the opening. The colorful light enveloped the entire lotus flower, separating this lotus flower from the outside world into 2 worlds. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, so the power gathered from the origin spirit veins all came here. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, Mr. Lin is correct. 3 8th grade origin spirit veins, 6 7th grade origin spirit veins, 12 6th grade origin spirit veins, most of their origin essence is gathered here. Lin Moyu said, your 9th grade origin spirit vein seems to have already formed. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord sighed, it's not that it has formed. It has always existed, but something unexpected happened. Lin Moyu slowly said, if it's because of the 9th grade origin spirit vein, then Lin might not be able to help. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, it's not the 9th grade origin spirit vein. Mr. Lin, please take a look first. Amidst the myriad colors, a lotus flower slowly descended. On the lotus flower was a woman entirely emanating divine light. The woman was stunningly beautiful. At first glance, Lin Moyu immediately thought of Lin Mohan. Her beauty was no less than Lin Mohan's. She was surrounded by divine light. The divine light seemed to have substance, actually a miniaturized origin spirit vein, and not just any origin spirit vein, but one that had surpassed the 8th grade and reached the 9th grade. Lin Moyu looked for a few moments, his heart skipping a beat, and he blurted out, Great Tao Realm. Unexpectedly, there really was a Great Tao Realm being in the Ancient Lotus Holy Land. However, this Great Tao Realm powerhouse seemed to be in an unusual situation, in a state of unconsciousness. When the Ancient Lotus Holy Lord heard Lin Moyu say, Great Tao Realm, her eyes lit up. Not just her, but the other elders also looked over at the same time. The Ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, this is the ancestor of our Ancient Lotus Holy Land. During the origin catastrophe, to protect the Holy Land, the ancestor voluntarily fused with the 9th grade origin spirit vein to block the attack from the 7-star realm, but the ancestor was also injured in the process. Unexpectedly, someone from the Black Blood realm took the opportunity to launch a sneak attack, wounding the ancestor. Fortunately, someone from the outer Great Tao came and killed the Black Blood realm powerhouse. We thought that was the end of it, but we didn't expect that the person from the Black Blood realm hadn't died. Instead, they took advantage of the ancestor's slumber to fuse into the origin spirit vein. Luckily, the ancestor woke up in time and battled them within the origin spirit vein. It's precisely because of this that the ancestor has remained in a deep slumber. We want to ask Mr. Lin to wake up the ancestor. After listening to the Ancient Lotus Holy Lord's description, Lin Moyu calmly asked, do you know why the Ancient Lotus ancestor can't wake up? ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3475, 3475. Chapter 3475, A Thorny Problem. Just from hearing the description and seeing the sleeping state of the ancient lotus ancestor, not much could be discerned. However, Lin Moyu hadn't looked carefully yet. He wanted to listen first, believing that the ancient lotus holy lord surely had more to say. The ancient lotus ancestor had been sleeping since the origin catastrophe until now. The people in the ancient lotus holy land must have researched this countless times. There were quite a few 9th level Dao venerables in the holy land. How could they not have discovered anything? Rather than guessing himself, it was better to hear their opinions first, then make his own judgment. This would not only be easier but also more accurate. The ancient lotus holy lord said, "At first, we didn't know why the ancestor couldn't wake up. Later, after continuous exploration and research, we finally discovered some clues." Lin Moyu said, "Haven't you tried in the soul void?" Having searched 10,000 times without success, Lin Moyu knew he didn't need to waste effort going to the soul void. If these 9th level Dao venerables couldn't find it, he certainly couldn't either. The soul void and the real world have a very peculiar corresponding relationship. As long as the distance is close enough in the real world, they would also be relatively close in the soul void. They could go to the soul void right next to their ancestor to search. If they couldn't find it once or twice, it might be a matter of luck. But if they couldn't find it after 10,000 times, it definitely wasn't a luck issue, but that the soul wasn't there. Lin Moyu continued to ask, "For a great Dao realm being, lifespan is unlimited. Even if the soul is annihilated, the physical body can remain undecayed forever. How are you certain that the ancient lotus ancestor is still alive?" The ancient lotus holy lord said, "Because the ancestor's life-bound celestial lotus is still alive." Lin Moyu remembered that the ancient lotus holy land had a secret technique that could transform a strand of one's soul into a life-bound celestial lotus. The life-bound celestial lotus could continuously absorb origin essence from heaven and earth, including origin spirit veins and the two great origins of the sun and moon. The absorbed origin essence could be accumulated and purified. When the main body sat on the life-bound celestial lotus to cultivate, these constantly absorbed origin essences could be transformed into cultivation power, accelerating the main body's cultivation speed. This kind of life-bound celestial lotus had the highest compatibility with oneself, equivalent to having an avatar constantly cultivating, then giving everything gained from cultivation to oneself. The ancient lotus holy lord asked, "Mr. Lin, have you thought of any method?" Lin Moyu said, "To wake up the ancient lotus ancestor, the most important thing is to find her soul. I assume all the elders think the same, and the key is how to find her soul. Let me take a look and see if I can find any clues." Mist appeared in Lin Moyu's eyes as he used the fortune Great Dao, and he saw the ancient lotus ancestor's fortune. The ancient lotus ancestor's fortune still existed, from which it could also be judged that she was still alive. Her fortune rose and then dissipated in the air, not flying towards the distance. Originally, there should have been fortune connecting the physical body and the soul. If the fortune between the two was broken, there were only two possibilities. Lin Moyu thought to himself, the connection between the soul and the physical body has been broken. Either the distance is too far, or the soul is trapped somewhere. Then Lin Moyu used the undead eye and saw exactly what he had thought. There was no soul inside the ancient lotus ancestor. Without a soul, even if they went to the soul void right next to her, they wouldn't be able to find anything. Lin Moyu pondered, the soul isn't in the body, but it hasn't been destroyed. It should be trapped somewhere, or lost in the soul void. Now he could determine that the ancient lotus ancestor's soul wasn't dead, but he didn't know exactly where it was. If it was trapped somewhere, that might not be too bad. For a great Dao realm being, they wouldn't become confused, but finding a way back would be almost impossible. Lin Moyu said, "Where is the ancient lotus ancestor's life-bound celestial lotus? Can I take a look?" She pointed her finger, and a celestial lotus automatically flew out. Since they had invited Lin Moyu to help, they naturally had to trust him completely. Lin Moyu looked at the life-bound celestial lotus with his undead eye and found that there was an extremely weak soul flame inside. This soul flame had a faint connection with the main body in the unseen realm. If the main body died, the life-bound celestial lotus would be destroyed along with it. However, this connection was one way. If the life-bound celestial lotus was destroyed, the main body wouldn't be affected. Similarly, trying to find the main body through the life-bound celestial lotus would be equally difficult. Lin Moyu looked at the life-bound celestial lotus through the fortune Great Dao but didn't discover anything. His expression gradually became solemn. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. He had encountered various thorny issues before, but the biggest problem was always how to kill the opponent. But now, there was no opponent. Instead, he had to find a missing soul. In the vast world, finding a lost soul was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. Lin Moyu was a bit troubled for a moment. He looked at the ancient Lotus Holy Lord. Have you tried the cause and effect treasure? The ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, we've tried that too, but the cause and effect treasure couldn't find the ancestor's soul. Cause and effect treasures also have strong and weak ones. Obviously, the one in the ancient Lotus Holy Land wasn't strong enough. A sufficiently powerful cause and effect treasure could even reverse cause and effect, achieving many impossible things. Lin Moyu thought for a moment, I have a method we can try, but we need to wait a few more days. When the ancient Lotus Holy Lord heard that Lin Moyu had a method to try, she immediately smiled, that's fine. We've waited so many years, what's a few more days? At this time, Fire Lotus Elder asked, Mr. Lin, how confident are you? Lin Moyu spoke honestly, I'm not confident. To be frank, this is the first time Lin has encountered such a problem. I can only say I'll try my best. If it doesn't work, I hope the elders won't blame Lin. Fire Lotus Elder immediately said, of course we won't blame Mr. Lin. Lin Moyu said, for the sake of the divine rune formation, Lin will do his best. Days passed one by one, and this banquet continued. Because the ancient Lotus ancestors' matter hadn't been resolved, there wasn't much conversation among the crowd. Little May would eat until full, then cultivate, and after cultivating, she would continue eating, non-stop. Lin Moyu drank lotus flower clear tea, slowly savoring the delicacies. Although it wasn't yet the ancient Lotus Immortal banquet, the food at this feast was already of the highest quality. Over the past few days, he had also chatted a bit with the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden, but most of the time, they were both silent. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden wasn't talkative. It was clear she didn't talk much usually. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. Lin Moyu took a deep breath, everyone, Lin is ready. Let's try now. Hearing Lin Moyu's words, all the elders looked over, each with a rather solemn expression. With a thought, the Destiny Lich appeared beside him. He had waited these 7 days just for the Destiny Lich's technique to cool down. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3476, 3476. Chapter 3476, The Soul World of a Great Tao Realm Being. The small and cute Destiny Lich appeared on Lin Moyu's shoulder, looking around curiously, appearing extremely adorable. However, it also gave off an eerie feeling. The Destiny Lich's body was in a semi-transparent state. When it turned its head, its body didn't move, and the head could rotate a full 360 degrees, as if it had no neck. At the same time, the Destiny Lich emitted cheerful laughter, which sounded chilling to others' ears. It wasn't a pet, but a lich, a killing tool. Lin Moyu had a thought, and the Destiny Lich automatically flew out, coming before the ancient Lotus ancestor, then activating its technique. Destiny Secrets. Search for opportunities through the Destiny Great Tao, can be activated once every 10 days. The future is constantly changing, opportunities might also be misfortunes. The power of the Destiny Great Tao descended upon the ancient Lotus ancestor. This power was noble and mysterious, inspiring reverence in everyone. These 9th-level elders all sensed the Destiny Great Tao. They might not recognize it, but they knew it was an illusory-type power. Being able to master illusory-type power showed how extraordinary this little creature was. Destiny Secrets was ineffective on Lin Moyu, but it immediately took effect on the ancient Lotus ancestor. A faint light emitted from the ancient Lotus ancestor's body, and within the light appeared a projection. The projection showed a hazy void, pitch black without a trace of light. Lin Moyu frowned. Indeed, in the soul void. The elders also recognized it and exclaimed in low voices, it's the soul void. It should be. Could it be that the ancestor's soul is lost in the soul void? Don't speak, be quiet. After their exclamations, they all fell silent. At this moment, Lin Moyu slowly floated up, coming to sit cross-legged beside the ancient Lotus ancestor. Elders, Lin will go to the soul void. The ancient Lotus Holy Lord immediately said, Mr. Lin, please be very careful. We await your good news. Lin Moyu nodded, closed his eyes, and his consciousness sank into the soul world. The void outside the soul world was silent without a sound. The cruelty of the soul void could only be truly experienced by great Tao realm beings. Lin Moyu had been to the soul void many times. He was full of awe for it and was always extremely cautious each time he came. The soul void was too dangerous. Lin Moyu wasn't even sure if his talent would still work here, or if he could revive after dying. Perhaps here, he only had one life. How could he not be careful? This time he came here just to try, and he absolutely wouldn't force himself. Everything had to be based on preserving his own life. The Destiny Lish's technique had taken effect. Lin Moyu believed the ancient Lotus Ancestor must have felt it. While Destiny Guidance was telling everyone that the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul was in the soul void, it was also pointing out a correct path for the ancient Lotus Ancestor. Currently, the most important opportunity for the ancient Lotus Ancestor was to return to her own physical body. Nothing was more important than this. The Destiny Lish's guidance would definitely become her lifeline. At the same time, Lin Moyu also entered the soul void along the power of the Destiny Great Tao, taking the first step to meet her. The Destiny Secrets technique clearly stated that the opportunity obtained from guidance could also be a misfortune. From another perspective, this meant that the ancient Lotus Ancestor might encounter some events on her way back. Perhaps she had been safe in the soul void for countless years, but problems might appear on her way back. This was also why Lin Moyu came. He wanted to wear down these potential misfortunes as much as possible. Lin Moyu left his own soul world, holding the catastrophe scepter, with the Destiny Lich accompanying him on his brow. As the caster of the technique, the Destiny Lich had a certain sense of its own technique. The Destiny Lich guided the direction, so Lin Moyu was no longer like a headless fly and could accurately find his target. Lin Moyu knew that he was now very close to the ancient Lotus Ancestor, and their soul worlds shouldn't be too far apart. But those ancient Lotus Holy Land elders had also searched using this method and found nothing, indicating that the location of the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul world had been changed. As for whether it was changed by someone else or by the ancient Lotus Ancestor herself, it was hard to say. Both were possible. Sometimes, for the safety of one's soul world, deliberately changing its location was common. Lin Moyu had done this before. The Destiny Lich guided the direction, and Lin Moyu moved forward in the darkness, getting further and further away from his own soul world. This was the first time he had been so far from his own soul world. He had never been this far before. Lin Moyu constantly sensed his own soul world. Once the sense became too weak, he would immediately return. He couldn't possibly risk his own life just to help the ancient Lotus Ancestor. Gradually, Lin Moyu felt that the power of the Great Taos seemed to be weakening. But strangely, not all Great Tao powers were weakening. The most significant changes were in the Thousand Stars Great Tao, the Fortune Great Tao, and the Space Great Tao. The power of these three Great Taos weakened most noticeably, while the Undying Great Tao, Time Great Tao, and Power Great Tao didn't change much. He communicated mentally with the Destiny Lich, which told him that the Destiny Great Tao hadn't weakened either. Could it be that even among Origin Great Taos, there are distinctions? The Space Great Tao and Time Great Tao are both Origin Great Taos, so why would the Space Great Tao weaken while the Time Great Tao is fine? It's not a matter of Great Tao types either. Among illusory Great Taos, the Power Great Tao is fine, but the Fortune Great Tao weakened. How strange. Lin Moyu didn't understand the reasoning behind this. He knew it was because his level wasn't high enough. Perhaps when his level was sufficient in the future, he would be able to understand. A faint light suddenly appeared in the dark world. The Destiny Lich called out softly, telling Lin Moyu they had arrived. The faint light before his eyes was the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul world. At this point, Lin Moyu was very far from his own soul world, but he could still sense it, though much weaker. He was just a bit short of the limit. Lin Moyu sighed lightly. Fortunately, if it were any further, I would have to go back. Let's go see what a Great Tao Realm soul world looks like. Lin Moyu approached, seeing a Great Tao Realm soul world for the first time. At first glance, a Great Tao Realm soul world didn't look much different from his own, both appearing like glowing bubbles. But looking carefully, one would find that the two were completely different. The Great Tao Realm soul world was surrounded by a mist, making it hazy and more concealed, greatly increasing its safety in the soul void. At the same time, the mist was formed by Great Taos, possessing considerable defensive power. It would be quite difficult for outsiders to break through. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up, a divine rune formation. setting up a formation outside the soul world. So it can be done this way. He didn't know what the interior of a great Tao realm soul world was like, but the exterior was fully visible to him. He felt that he could also make some modifications to his soul world. After finding the soul world, Lin Moyu continued to have the Destiny Lich guide him, pointing towards the direction of the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3477, 3477. Chapter 3477, you're far from being able to play the waiting game. The Destiny Lich's small hand pointed in a direction. In the soul void, there was no concept of up, down, left, right, or cardinal directions. So-called positions all had to be oriented relative to oneself or one's soul world. Flying for a distance in the direction the Destiny Lich pointed, Lin Moyu sighed inwardly. Fortunately, this direction isn't getting farther and farther from my soul world. If the location of the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul was getting increasingly distant from his own soul world, he definitely wouldn't go there. At most, he would just wait beside the ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul world. No matter what, his own life came first. Lin Moyu firmly remembered that he was only at the Tao Venerable realm, not yet at the Great Tao realm. He didn't yet have the qualification to roam freely in the soul void. The best outcome would be for the ancient Lotus Ancestor to encounter danger, and then for him to appear and rescue her from peril. Of course, it wasn't about playing the hero rescuing the beauty, but about maximizing benefits this way. Sending charcoal in snowy weather was far better than adding flowers to brocade. If he could save the ancient Lotus Ancestor when she was on the brink of death, the effect would certainly be the best. Lin Moyu never considered himself a good person. He considered many things from the perspective of benefits. As long as it didn't break his bottom line, there was nothing he couldn't do. Flying slowly, with the Destiny Lich's guidance, the direction remained correct. As long as he could still sense his own soul world, it was fine. Finally, a faint aura fluctuation came from directly ahead of him. In the soul void, any aura fluctuation couldn't travel very far. Being able to sense an aura meant the distance was already very close. Lin Moyu flew even slower, until the mist in his vision completely dispersed and he could clearly see what was happening. The ancient Lotus Ancestor's soul was battling with a peculiar soul body shaped like a shark with its mouth open. At this time, the ancient Lotus Ancestor's condition wasn't good. Lin Moyu could clearly sense her weakness, and her soul itself had suffered not light injuries. One of her arms had even been severed. Losing an arm of the soul was a very troublesome matter, even for a great Tao realm being. Losing an arm of the physical body wasn't a problem, it could be easily recovered. But for the soul, it was much more troublesome. The ancient Lotus Ancestor was wielding a ribbon, which was a good soul treasure. Sometimes it transformed into a large net, sometimes into a whip. It was thanks to this soul treasure that the ancient Lotus Ancestor could continue to fight with her opponent. The shark-shaped soul body continuously spewed out large amounts of liquid, which turned into water, firmly sealing off the surroundings. The ancient Lotus Ancestor had tried to break out several times, all ending in failure. Her situation wasn't good, her injuries affected her combat power, and she clearly couldn't do anything about her opponent. The shark soul body wasn't in a hurry. It kept entangling with the ancient Lotus Ancestor, already treating her as prey. This shark has intelligence, and it's already at the Great Tao realm. If I want to kill it, I must get close and use the Catastrophe Scepter to strike it down. But its power is too strong, I probably can't get close. If the ancient Lotus Ancestor were at her peak, she could find a way to entangle it. But now, she can't do that either. Lin Moyu watched from afar, thinking of various methods, but felt none were very reliable. If not careful, not only would he fail to save her, but he might also get himself killed. After thinking for a while, Lin Moyu gave up the idea of killing the opponent. For him now, the best outcome would be to drive the opponent away. The ancient Lotus Ancestor's condition was getting worse and worse. Lin Moyu knew he couldn't wait any longer. Seizing the opportunity, he waved his hand, and the world-burning fire suddenly flew out. The world-burning fire flew like a meteor above the shark, exploding with a boom and turning into a sea of fire. Lin Moyu was launching a sneak attack, and his move was decisive. The shark couldn't react in time. As he unleashed the world-burning fire, Lin Moyu simultaneously retreated, quickly disappearing into the mist of the soul void. The world-burning fire burned fiercely. When the shark was burned by the world-burning fire, it immediately let out miserable screams. Even though it was at the Great Tao realm, when faced with the world-burning fire, it still suffered unbearable pain. But for the world-burning fire to burn it to death wasn't so easy either. The shark roared in anger repeatedly. Its piercing voice bounced back and forth within the not-so-large area. The mist kept rolling, and the shark searched in the mist for traces of the sneak attacker. Lin Moyu had hidden quickly, it couldn't find a trace of him at all. The shark desperately shook its body, and the world-burning fire on its body slowly extinguished. At this moment, another fireball flew out from the mist, exploding with a boom. The world-burning fire that was about to extinguish intensified again. Lin Moyu had thrown out a second world-burning fire, while he himself had changed positions, continuing to hide. He wasn't confident in killing the shark, so he could only use this method to launch sneak attacks. Perhaps the shark would retreat in the face of difficulty. The shark roared frantically, searching for Lin Moyu, but to no avail. The ancient lotus ancestor gained a precious chance to catch her breath. Now if she wanted to escape, the shark's soul body might not be able to stop her. The ancient lotus ancestor's gaze shifted, her eyes becoming sharp. Not only did she not escape, but she instead launched an attack on the shark, even more fiercely than before. Lin Moyu, peering through the mist, faintly saw the ancient lotus ancestor's actions. How decisive! It had to be said that the ancient lotus ancestor's action was correct. If she had escaped, that would have been the wrong decision. She and Lin Moyu had achieved tacit cooperation, with her in the open and Lin Moyu in hiding, jointly dealing with the shark. The shark frantically attacked the ancient lotus ancestor. The ancient lotus ancestor firmly defended, while using her treasure to entangle the shark. Bang! Another world-burning fire exploded above the shark's head. The shark, bathed in flames, screamed incessantly. The ancient lotus ancestor seized the opportunity again, turning from defense to offense. One powerful attack after another landed on the shark's body. When the shark launched a counterattack, the ancient lotus ancestor went back to defending. The shark couldn't kill the ancient lotus ancestor in a short time either. One world-burning fire after another kept exploding. The shark was continuously burned, and its aura began to weaken. Finally, it couldn't bear it anymore. Letting out sounds of unwillingness and anger, it flew towards the distance, disappearing into the mist. Lin Moyu, hidden in the mist, and the ancient lotus ancestor both let out a sigh of relief at the same time. The ancient lotus ancestor looked around. Now it was her turn to search for Lin Moyu. She didn't find Lin Moyu, but saw a point of firelight in the distance. The firelight was hidden in the mist, just at the limit of vision. If she retreated a few more steps, she wouldn't be able to see it. Lin Moyu had a very good grasp of distance, just enough for the ancient lotus ancestor to see. This way, even if the shark's soul body hadn't left, it wouldn't be able to see his position. The ancient lotus ancestor didn't suspect anything and immediately flew towards the location of the firelight. Meanwhile, Lin Moyu kept retreating, using the firelight to guide her. The two, one in front and one behind, flew in the mist, maintaining a certain distance. The ancient lotus ancestor didn't know that Lin Moyu had released a large number of skeleton generals along the way, using them to check the situation along the route. Sure enough, the shark hadn't really retreated. It was quietly following behind the ancient lotus ancestor. Lin Moyu saw this through the skeleton generals and couldn't help but laugh coldly in his heart. You want to play the waiting game? You're far from being able to do that. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3478, 3478. Chapter 3478, The Great Tao Formation Sect. With a thought, a large amount of world-burning fire exploded, instantly igniting raging flames in the soul void. While releasing skeleton generals, Lin Moyu had also released many world-burning fires, preparing for the shark soul body's approach. The ancient lotus ancestor looked back and was startled. The soul void behind her had already become a sea of fire. In the sea of fire, a shark could be faintly seen rolling, and she heard its roars. It was then that she realized the shark hadn't left at all, but was following behind her. At this moment, the firelight that had been guiding her suddenly began to accelerate. The immortal Lotus Holy Maiden didn't think much and also accelerated to chase after it. Soon, the sea of fire was left behind, once again disappearing into the mist of the soul void. Lin Moyu led the ancient lotus ancestor for a long distance before stopping. By now, he was certain they had shaken off the shark soul body. The ancient lotus ancestor finally saw Lin Moyu clearly. Her delicate face couldn't hide her surprise. Dao Venerable 5th level. The ancient lotus ancestor also bowed to Lin Moyu. Ancient lotus thanks fellow Taoist for the grace of saving my life. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Elder doesn't need to be so polite. I was also entrusted by others to come find you. The ancient lotus ancestor clearly didn't understand Lin Moyu's meaning. For a Dao Venerable 5th level to enter the soul void was already an incredibly bold act. He even said he was entrusted by others to come find her, and the key was that he actually found her. This was simply unbelievable. However, thinking of the flames from earlier, the ancient lotus ancestor also felt some hesitation. Lin Moyu said, Elder, let's talk as we walk. Your soul world is over there. Please follow me. At this time, the ancient lotus ancestor also had some sense of her soul world. Seeing that the direction Lin Moyu was going was indeed the direction of her soul world. She asked with doubt, earlier, I suddenly had a premonition and sensed the location of my soul world. Was that your doing? Lin Moyu nodded with a smile. That's right. This was guidance from the Destiny Great Tao. It was also thanks to the Destiny Great Tao that I was able to find Elder. On the way back, Lin Moyu told the ancient lotus ancestor about how the ancient lotus Holy Land had entrusted him to find her. After listening, the ancient lotus ancestor sighed. They actually didn't give up. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Elder should know the nature of our human race. Seeking one's roots is something most of us will pursue. The ancient lotus ancestor sighed. Time is immeasurable in the soul void. I don't know how many years I've spent here. Lin Moyu said, it's hard to calculate now. I'm very curious, why did Elder get lost in the soul void? The ancient lotus ancestor said, during the origin catastrophe back then, I fused my body with a 9th grade origin spirit vein and used the ancient lotus great formation to protect the ancient lotus Holy Land. But I also suffered serious injuries at that time. At that time, I should have slept for 1,000 years to recover from my injuries, but unexpectedly, people from the Black Blood realm came. I was no match for them, so I sought help from outside. From the outer Great Tao, an elder from my sect descended to intervene, killing the Sword Saint from the Black Blood realm. However, the situation in the outer Great Tao was intense, and that elder immediately returned. Unexpectedly, that Black Blood Sword Saint wasn't completely dead. It actually entered the 9th grade origin spirit vein while I was sleeping, using the origin spirit vein to recover. I was awakened and engaged in another battle with it. At that time, our battle was in the soul realm. I moved the location of my soul world and entered the soul void with it for a great battle. After exhausting all my efforts, I finally managed to kill it, but I also completely lost my way. The ancient lotus ancestor's injuries were left from her battle with the Black Blood Sword Saint. The Black Blood Sword Saint was too strange and difficult to kill. Even though only a remnant soul was left at that time, the ancient lotus ancestor was also seriously injured. Being able to kill it in the end was already considered very fortunate. Lin Moyu said, Elder's luck has been very good. To be lost in the soul void for so many years without encountering danger is truly a miracle. The ancient lotus ancestor shook her head. It's not as simple as you think. While searching for the way back, I encountered a virtual time storm. I was caught in the storm, and the flow of time changed. While countless years passed in the outside world, for me, the time wasn't long. Lin Moyu asked, what is a virtual time storm? The ancient lotus ancestor said, it's a type of storm unique to the soul void, composed of soul power and time power. Time becomes chaotic in the storm. If the storm is positive, one day inside might mean thousands or tens of thousands of years have passed outside. If it's negative, it's said to cause time to flow backwards. You're right, I was quite lucky. The virtual time storm I encountered was positive. If it had been negative, I would certainly have perished. Time flowing backwards doesn't mean going back to the past, but rather the ancient lotus ancestor would follow the traces she left in the river of time, returning to the past herself. The most direct effect would be a regression in cultivation level, falling back from the Great Tao realm. Exactly which level she would fall back to, no one knows. But as long as she fell from the Great Tao realm, for the ancient lotus ancestor, it would be a dead end. The dangers of the soul void are far more than just those powerful and terrifying soul bodies. There are also other things. Lin Moyu firmly remembered the virtual time storm. In case he enters the soul void in the future, he would need to avoid it. Light appeared before their eyes, and a beautiful smile bloomed on the ancient lotus ancestor's exquisite face, finally back. Lin Moyu said, "Congratulations to Elder on returning to the Great Tao." The ancient lotus ancestor said, "This is all thanks to you. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to return. I will remember this life-saving grace and will definitely repay it generously when the opportunity arises." Lin Moyu said, "Elder doesn't need to be so formal. The ancient Lotus Holy Land asked me to come, and I also set my conditions. Actually, Elder can consider it a business transaction." The ancient Lotus ancestor shook her head. "That's between you and the ancient Lotus Holy Land, it has nothing to do with what's between us." Lin Moyu seemed to have been waiting for just these words, "Then I'll be thick-skinned and ask Elder for one thing." The ancient Lotus ancestor was very straightforward. "Go ahead and say it." Lin Moyu said, "I want Elder's learning materials related to divine rune formations. After the origin catastrophe, all materials related to divine rune formations were lost. I only obtained one from Elder Jiyu Hanyu, but it's too basic." The ancient Lotus ancestor agreed very readily, "That's nothing. It's just some materials, and moreover, my attainments in formations can only be considered intermediate. If you really want to study formations, the materials from just me won't be enough." Lin Moyu immediately said, "Please, Elder, tell me more." The ancient Lotus ancestor said, "I know of this Jiyu Hanyu you mentioned. He's from the Cold Water sect. His formations can only be considered elementary now. My formations are only intermediate. If you want to learn more powerful formations, you need to seek out people from the Great Tao Formation sect. However, people from the Great Tao Formation sect won't possibly teach you. Even if you want to join the Great Tao Formation sect, it's impossible. I'll give you a lead. Back then, there were many Tao protection fortresses. I remember several of them belonged to the Great Tao Formation sect. They should have been damaged in battle. Perhaps there might be something inside. However, even if you obtain materials from the Great Tao Formation sect, try not to use the existing formations inside if possible. Those folks from the Great Tao Formation sect aren't very reasonable. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3479, 3479. Chapter 3479, The Ancient Lotus Holy Land must have something strange. The ancient Lotus ancestor clearly had some reservations and couldn't speak plainly. Lin Moyu could fully understand the meaning behind the ancient Lotus ancestor's words. The Great Tao Formation sect must be a sect from the outer Great Tao, and an extremely powerful and domineering one at that. If their formations were used and they discovered it, they might come to pursue the matter, and they were very unreasonable. The way of formations was too mysterious. Through formations, various Great Taos could be summoned. Even if the cause and effect Great Tao or the destiny Great Tao were summoned, it wouldn't be strange. So even if one obtained the inheritance materials of the Great Tao Formation sect, the formations would need to be modified to remove any traces left by the Great Tao Formation sect. In fact, this reminder from the ancient Lotus ancestor had already given Lin Moyu a lot of help. If he had unknowingly used the formations of the Great Tao Formation sect, it might have brought unnecessary trouble. The ancient Lotus ancestor said, "All right, I'm going back now. We'll meet in the real world." After saying this, the ancient Lotus ancestor turned and flew into her own soul world. After countless years, this soul world that had been lonely in the soul void for countless years finally welcomed back its master. As the ancient Lotus ancestor returned, the previously dormant soul world instantly burst into life, with gentle power continuously growing within it. The soul void was very dangerous. The less time a soul spent here, the better. Fire Lotus Elder murmured in a low voice, 10 days have passed. I wonder if Mr. Lin has found her. The ancient Lotus Holy Lord said, Fire Ancestor, there's no need to rush. This matter can't be hurried. Trust in Mr. Lin. Wind Lotus Elder chuckled. Look how calm little May is. Are we old folks not as good as a little girl? They all laughed and looked at little May. During these days while Lin Moyu was unaware, little May had already mixed well with them. Everyone present liked this sensible and obedient little girl, little May. Apart from being a bit gluttonous, she had no flaws. Some elders even suggested that Lin Moyu should part with her and let her join the ancient Lotus Holy Land. But this suggestion was immediately rejected by Little May. She clearly stated that she was Lin Moyu's disciple in life and would be his dead disciple in death. Suddenly, an aura slowly rose. The life-bound celestial lotus floating above the ancient lotus ancestor suddenly burst into myriad rays of colorful light. Whoosh! Everyone except Little May stood up simultaneously. One elder after another surged with excitement. Fire Lotus Elder pointed at the ancient lotus ancestor's life-bound celestial lotus. The celestial lotus moved, the celestial lotus moved. This mighty 9th level Tao Venerable Elder was now somewhat incoherent. The other elders also found it hard to remain calm, extremely excited. They all had life-bound celestial lotuses and knew what it meant when a life-bound celestial lotus moved. It meant that the ancient lotus ancestor's soul had returned. The life-bound celestial lotus sensed the return of its main body, thus producing such changes. Even the usually calm ancient lotus Holy Lord found it hard to suppress her inner excitement at this moment. The ancestor has finally returned, the ancestor has finally returned. The calmest in the entire scene were Little May and the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden. Little May was an outsider, so naturally she wouldn't be excited. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden, because she hadn't reached that level yet, didn't understand. Little May asked curiously, is the return of an ancestor worth being so excited about? The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden said softly, the return of the ancestor has an extraordinary meaning for the elders in the Holy Land. Little May made an, oh, sound. In her view, it was just another great Tao realm being. On this journey, she had seen several great Tao realm beings. There was nothing special about them. No matter how strong the ancient lotus ancestor was, she wouldn't surpass Dongfang Duantian. The aura fluctuations became stronger and stronger. Dazzling divine light began to radiate from the ancient lotus ancestor's body. Her life-bound celestial lotus slowly descended, stopping at her chest. Waves of enormous power continuously transmitted from the life-bound celestial lotus. The ancient lotus ancestor's aura began to rise rapidly. During her slumber, the life-bound celestial lotus had been continuously absorbing origin essence. The amount accumulated was astonishingly large. On the contrary, Little May, with the weakest cultivation, was the most relaxed among everyone. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden was extremely uncomfortable at this time. Under the soul pressure, she felt her soul might collapse at any moment. Fortunately, the ancient Lotus Holy Lord noticed the anomaly and stepped forward to the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden's side, shielding her from the pressure. This was the soul pressure of a great Tao realm being. Even she felt uncomfortable, so why was Little May completely fine? She didn't know that Little May was an innate Tao soul. In terms of soul level, even these 9th level Tao Venerables were inferior to Little May. Facing soul pressure, Little May naturally could be more at ease. After the divine light and pressure continued for several minutes, they finally gradually receded. The ancient lotus ancestor, who had been sleeping for countless years, slowly opened her eyes. Her body automatically floated up, standing in midair. The ancient lotus ancestor had a cold temperament and extremely beautiful features, like a fairy from within a lotus. Everyone except Little May bowed. The ancient lotus ancestor's gaze swept over them, and her clear voice sounded, "You have all worked hard." At this time, the ancient lotus ancestor looked at Lin Moyu standing to the side. This time, thanks to Lin fellow Taoist's help, this ancestor was able to return smoothly. Lin fellow Taoist is this ancestor's benefactor, and also the benefactor of our holy land. You should treat Lin fellow Taoist the same as you would treat me, understand? Little May, listening from the side, found it a bit strange. She had never seen any sect or holy land that could be so united. Even in their Coldwater Holy Land's GU family, where everyone was blood relatives, there were still people with ulterior motives. This was the first time Little May had seen such a united sect or holy land. There's something strange. This ancient Lotus Holy Land must have something strange. It's impossible to be this united. Little May immediately realized that there must be a huge secret in the ancient Lotus Holy Land. The ancient Lotus ancestor smiled and said, "It's all thanks to Lin fellow Taoist. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for this ancestor to return. This is what this ancestor promised Lin fellow Taoist. Please accept it, Lin fellow Taoist." An ancient jade tablet flew into Lin Moyu's hand, recording all the formation knowledge the ancient Lotus ancestor had learned in her lifetime. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thanks you Ray NYC for your support. It means a lot. I'd like to start translating a new novel. Any suggestions or recommendations would be greatly appreciated. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3480, 3480. As soon as the immortal Lotus Holy Maiden left, Little May immediately said, "Teacher, something's not right with the ancient Lotus Holy Land." Lin Moyu smiled and asked, "What's not right?" Little May said, "Their hearts are too united. It seems like no one has any selfish thoughts. They're all fully committed to the ancient Lotus ancestors' return." Lin Moyu said, "Isn't that good?" Little May shook her head, "It's not that it's not good, but it's not normal. It goes against human nature." Lin Moyu said, "It's very good that you can think this way. The ancient Lotus Holy Land is indeed different from ordinary holy lands and sects. Their existence is too ancient. What's really standing behind them is a power from the outer Great Tao. I don't know the specific reasons, but there's a reason for their unity." Little May said, "Teacher, you think so too? Then it must be true. But what's the reason?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "I guess they must be able to contact that power in the outer Great Tao. With someone overseeing them from above, those below naturally wouldn't dare to misbehave." Little May said softly, "If that's the case, it makes sense. But what's the use of rescuing the ancient Lotus ancestor? She'll be taken away by the Great Tao and won't be able to stay for long." Lin Moyu smiled with a hint of deeper meaning, "Are you sure she won't be able to stay for long?" Little May said, "Isn't that so? Weren't the previous ancestors like Hanyu and Dongfang Duantian all taken away by the Great Tao?" Lin Moyu said, "Then look, has she been taken away by the Great Tao?" Little May was startled. She and Lin Moyu had been chatting for quite a while. If the Great Tao was going to take someone, it should have happened by now. But there was no movement from the Great Tao, clearly it hadn't come to take her. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "So, they have someone above. They must have a way to stay." Little May asked, "What are they staying for?" Lin Moyu flicked a drop of tea onto Little May's brow. The tea water carried a trace of life force, giving Little May a jolt. Lin Moyu continued, "Think about the three ancestors, think about the Beast Emperor. They tried every means to come to the origin continent back then and have stayed for so many years, even stopping their cultivation. What are they here for?" Little May suddenly realized, "It's for the great changes in heaven and earth." Lin Moyu said, "This question is actually very simple. You should have thought of it earlier. The great changes in heaven and earth are very important to them. And I think the three ancestors and the Beast Emperor are not alone. There are powers behind them too. They are seeking benefits for their respective powers. Understand?" Little May made an affirmative sound. Lin Moyu had explained it so clearly, of course she understood. Little May frowned. "In that case, when teacher drove away Withering and Flourishing Elder, you didn't just defend him, but also the power behind him." Lin Moyu laughed heartily, "You've finally figured it out. Not bad, not bad. But what's done is done. There's no use regretting it now. Your teacher could drive him away once, so I can do it twice or thrice. No matter what power is behind him, if they dare to provoke your teacher, I won't be polite." Little May waved her fist, "That's right, let's slaughter them all." Having been with Lin Moyu for a long time and influenced by him, now Little May would talk about slaughtering sects and exterminating clans at the drop of a hat. Footsteps sounded, and the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden walked over. "Mr. Lin, the Holy Lord asked me to take you to the treasure vault." Lin Moyu smiled and asked, "Where's the Holy Lord? Is she still busy?" The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden nodded. "The Holy Lord and several elders are still busy and can't get away for now. So she asked me to come." Also, the Holy Lord would like to invite Mr. Lin to stay for a few more days. The Holy Lord has decided to hold the Ancient Lotus Immortal Banquet in 6 days. This Ancient Lotus Immortal Banquet might be the grandest one yet. At that time, elders from various powers will be invited. When Little May heard about the Ancient Lotus Immortal Banquet, her eyes suddenly lit up. Sister Immortal Lotus, will there be even more delicious food at the Immortal Banquet? The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden nodded, there will be a lot of delicious food. Not only delicious, but many are also heavenly and earthly treasures. Eating them can accelerate cultivation speed. Little May tugged at Lin Moyu's clothes. Teacher, can we stay for a few more days? Lin Moyu chuckled, it's rare to encounter the Ancient Lotus Immortal Banquet. Of course we'll stay for a few days. Seeing Lin Moyu agree, Little May immediately beamed with joy, jumping up happily. The 3 of them sat on a lotus flower, flying into the lake beside the Lotus Core Sacred Hall. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden personally opened the sect's treasure vault for Lin Moyu. Mr. Lin, please. The treasure vault was protected by formations, and not just one. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden held a token to open the way for Lin Moyu. Precious treasures were neatly arranged inside, one after another. Everything collected in the Ancient Lotus Holy Land's treasure vault was valuable. There wasn't a single piece of junk. Each treasure had detailed explanations attached, explaining its grade and function. Compared to the Dongfang family's treasure vault, it was several levels higher, with a huge difference. Back then, in the Dongfang family's treasure vault, he couldn't pick out anything useful and just randomly chose an 8th level Dao Venerable treasure. The Dongfang family was clearly wealthy and powerful. It's unknown where they put all their good stuff. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden said, the Holy Lord said that Mr. Lin can choose whatever you want. Even if you empty the entire treasure vault, it's fine. Lin Moyu smiled, the Holy Lord is really generous. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden was good with words. Her gentle voice, beautiful appearance, and graceful temperament naturally gave people a sense of closeness. Lin Moyu of course understood that this wasn't the Ancient Lotus Holy Lord's intention, but the Ancient Lotus ancestors. The Ancient Lotus ancestor had used some special methods to stay, for the sake of the future great changes in heaven and earth. Although the items in the treasure vault were precious, they were of no use to a great Dao realm being. If these things could be exchanged for something more important, then it would be worth it. What was more important? Lin Moyu knew clearly in his heart. It was naturally himself. The Ancient Lotus ancestor must have already determined that he would also be one of the beneficiaries of the great changes in heaven and earth. If he really packed up everything in the treasure vault, the karmic debt between them would be great. When the time came for the great changes in heaven and earth, how could he have the face to compete with her? Taking favors makes one soft. The small advantages gained now might lead to big losses in the future. Lin Moyu wasn't that foolish. He said softly, do big things, take big benefits. I have a scale in my heart. I'll only take what I deserve. What's not mine, I won't touch. The Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden didn't speak. She was only responsible for conveying messages and opening the formations for Lin Moyu. As for what Lin Moyu would take, that wasn't her concern. Lin Moyu looked through the items one by one, from materials to treasures. There was nothing below the 4th level of Dao Venerable in the treasure vault. He saw 8th level Dao Venerable materials and treasures, but didn't linger. Until he saw one item, Lin Moyu finally stopped. The first item, this one. Lin Moyu made his choice, and the Immortal Lotus Holy Maiden immediately opened the formation, handing the item to Lin Moyu. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a